I have an announcement to make. Joe Flipperhead. I'm gonna put Joe Flipperhead on that set.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for.
It's a beautiful silver. It doesn't tarnish, and it has little, pardon my Jersey nails. And I curse like a sailor. Jen McCabe. She kept saying, "Can you show me? Can you show me?" Do you know what the message is? Fuck off.
Fucking only, Nan. I can't.
And I will have Nan Gallagher, the notorious Nan Gallagher, on with me.
So all of you should imagine what it's like to meet someone you've watched on a screen for well over a year, who you really admire, and have an opportunity to just have a really important conversation with them. So thanks for having me.
Stop that shit. Stop that shit. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. If you're wondering why I hardly ever get people on this show, and just the whole, talking to people.
Beautiful silver bracelet, just ties in the back with black cords. And it's Morse code.
It's a pain in the ass to me, dude.
Hold up, check it out. Oh, you don't know damn nigga that'll represent like me. Who will say some shit like me? One who will lay the dick like me. But you don't know damn nigga.
Everybody experienced this at least once. One grade in their childhood where you have somebody just like Bev who's grading papers and going, Mr. Jackson. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, sure. And she's like, I'll most likely allow it. I just need more detail. More detail into what? What do you need? The fuck? And now you want a more detailed affidavit. No, dude. The paper's fine. It's an A. Fucking get your red marker out. Give it an A so that I can fucking move on and I could fucking go to recess.
Check it out. Oh, you don't know damn nigga that'll represent like me. Who will say some shit like me? One who will lay the dick like me. But you don't know damn nigga.
I'm an attorney from New Jersey and New York. I'm licensed in Jersey, New York, DC, and the Third Circuit. I've been practicing now for almost 25 years. I then started following true crime. Mommy Likes Murder developed, and that's when I became a big fan of yours. Thank you. LTL Media and Mike Crawford, the Young Jerks. I started following the Gallagher.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Wow, Lothario, Jesus, you are way, way too generous, man.
Hold up, check it out. Oh, you don't know damn nigga that'll represent like me. Who will say some shit like me? One who will lay the dick like me. But you don't know damn nigga who do the shit that I do.
Motion because Mr. Betterow, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yes.
Betterow has specialized skill and knowledge.
You fucking know how to say his name, Bev. Fucking stop it right now. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
And most importantly, I am not Betterow. Like, I think that's going to be my new nickname. I am not Betterow.
Betterow is your worst fucking nightmare, and you fucking know it. Stop it.
She's not Betterow. He's king, and he is the king. I don't need to be a queen.
Check it out.
I'm gonna deal with my reading glasses. We're gonna dig through these.
Yeah.
Caution, I have no filter. I have heard some attorneys, law tubers say, oh, Brennan's very smart. I don't agree with that. I think he's a complete idiot. I love these are my badass glasses, by the way.
I'll keep you updated, but I had to tell you. Do you know who's retrying the Karen case?
Fucking only, Nan. I can't.
We're going to find out.
It says fuck off.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Woo! Good evening, my friends. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be fun. I think this is gonna be fun. Yo, I gotta give a big shout out to my man Joe Flip Ahead. I was like, yo, Joe Flip Ahead, I need you to reach out to me, homie, because I got a little something I need a favor. And he was like, I got you, bro. What's up? I said, you gotta take this Trick Daddy song and make me an intro for my Nan stream coming up. And he was like, boom, I got you. How do you want it? And I was like, just take out the stuff about, licking clits and sucking dicks and all that stuff. Because I don't want it to be disrespectful, like it's a tribute. And he was like, I got you. And so yeah, big shout out to Joe Flip Ahead. So I'm really grateful to him for making that. It was beautiful. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, halfway through it, I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? But I loved it. I was like, what the fuck is going on now? But it was fantastic. But now, without any further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring my guest on because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't have a plan. We're just gonna kick it. We're just gonna kick it, people. That's what we're doing. All right. So without any further ado, the Notorious Nan Gallagher. Oh my goodness, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. This is the first time we're speaking face to face.
I know we've only been speaking through chats. I've been stalking you for a long time and, some texting recently. And I just want to say that was the most amazing homage I've ever experienced in my life.
Bruh.
I love it. And I cannot wait to replay that later.
We got to give it to Joe Flip Ahead. That was just absolutely wonderful. I was like, when I texted him, I was like, chef's kiss, my friend. I was like, I'm not even going to show it to Nan until the live. So yeah, that was just
been fantastic. A long time coming. I have to say, Will, I'm your biggest fan. I don't care what anyone says in your chat, and you can all come for me. I am like a super Gallagher fan, and oh yeah. So
like not in a Kathy Bates kind of way.
Oh
right?
no, not in Kathy Bates. Not in like Swim Fan or pick any movie. There's just like a what did they call it in Wedding Crashers? A stage 3 clinger. No, I'm not. I'm none of that.
Yeah.
I'm just
You're not going to start calling me a dirty birdie and
I will find No, but I really
Wow, you really sold that. That was scary.
yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
do. I respect your work, and I also, most importantly,
Don't
respect
work.
your candor. And out of all of the content creators I follow, you are the most like me, and I am the
What?
most. Oh yeah, I mean, I tell people I curse like a sailor, and I was gonna wear my "Swearing Helps" T-shirt tonight because that is how I comport myself all day long. And I'm really happy that Joe Flipper had put a piece of that in that vignette that he put together. But yeah, you are just like me, and you're not afraid to call bullshit when you see it.
Well, see, I love that. You know how refreshing that is to come from an attorney talking about this case? Because, like, even Bettero doesn't hold back, but he kind of holds back. You know what I mean? Bettero is always like respectful,
Yeah.
and always like kind of watches his language and whatnot. And he's careful about what he says to be, but
Not
uh,
me.
yeah, well, and I love that because you know what? Fuck that. You know what I mean? At this point, it seems crazy to sugarcoat any of this. It seems illogical. It seems irrational almost to sugarcoat any of this. This is the most insane thing that I've ever seen. Is the biggest perversion that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime of the justice system.
Oh, I agree. And also, early on in this case, when I kind of started following it after Turtle Boy started covering it, became very notable to me. I was like, okay, I see they're kind of going through their proverbial motions, and then it hit a point where it's just completely flipped upside down. And for me, the gloves are off, and that's right around when I got more visible, I guess you would say, in terms of the content creators. Like, I'm like, someone has to additionally step up for this woman who has hopefully a little legal acumen, so they can try to show people, hey, this is what it means, this is the way it's supposed to work. And I've seen even in your streams and others, I add a little insight, and I know Bettero did too. So I am not Bettero, but it's part of my mission, a personal mission, not to garner YouTube fame, but to try to help people because they have questions, and I think a lot of people say, how is this even possible? And half the time I say it's not. This doesn't happen in non-corrupt jurisdictions. So
I think it's safe to say that you have stepped up above and beyond of any other attorney who's been talking about this case. The support that you've been showing, not just Karen but the creators, is incredible. And in my opinion, way too generous. Like, every time you super chat me, I'm just like grateful that you're in the chat adding your insights. That's why I gave you a wrench, because I
Thank
give
you.
people wrenches whose insight I find valuable, like Olivia's and Scott's, McGinnis, and and Turtle Boy, of course, and any of the creators like Mazza. So anybody whose insight I find very valuable, I give a wrench to, just in case there's ever a time where the chat has to be slowed down for whatever reason, which I almost never slow down my chat, but still. But I want you to be able to comment whenever you need to comment, because you add such value to my streams just by being in the chat. So I'm just grateful to you for that. And I saw Esty reposted that you had just made this incredibly sizable donation to Karen Reed, and I was just,
Mama's got the Benjamins. Hey, but Will, seriously though, the anti-free Karen readers have said I'm mentally imbalanced, bankrupting my family. Does my husband know that I'm squandering our retirement savings? There's been other comments, and
that's how it's got to be, right? You went off your rocker and you have a fund that they somehow know your net worth and budget.
Yeah,
somehow.
And they care. I said today
Right.
on X, I'm like, maybe I should just bankrupt myself and start collecting food stamps. And that seemed to swat the hornet's nest as well, which I am taking great pleasure in. Call me a sadist, but I am now seeing that I've become more vocal, and especially on Twitter or X, that the substance of the other side, there's nothing there. It's completely, insulting someone's appearance, talking about their finances, undermining someone's personal life, whether it's my own or other people whom I follow. And I know there's nothing there. So I take great pleasure in telling them they're complete idiots. I will not go as far as to tell them to go fuck their mother, because I learned.
Yeah, that got me. Yeah,
But
like
I'm
in the
tempted.
I'm like a ghost in Twitter. Like I can see everything. I just can't, because like all of my old followers, like that all comes up on my feed, the people who I follow. So I still see all of Turtle Boys and posts and Better Rose and everybody's and like and Maz's and everybody's. And so I can't comment and I can't DM them. I'm like in purgatory. It's really crazy. It's kind of surreal, actually.
But I bet you feel like a little free now that you're not on it because you have other
There
avenues.
is, yeah, I'm the kind of person that I try to find the blessings in everything. And I've been significantly happier since I've made a habit of this.
Oh, that's
And and yeah, there's definitely a blessing in not engaging with idiots without names or faces on
ridiculous.
Twitter. Yeah.
They're ridiculous. I've been told I shift in my seat too much, which for your audience and you to know, I have a horrible back and I had back surgery. I have to shift in my seat. I've been told I wear gamer headphones, which I wouldn't know.
And
I
I'm
wouldn't know.
sitting in a gamer chair right now. So
I just got any old little in-ears so the sound wouldn't reverberate, because I ruined a couple of streams that I first went on where, I felt bad for the creators, but there was an echo, which I don't think anyone realized till after. So I'm still learning. And, I don't have any aspiration of having a channel. I take great pleasure in trying my very best to hit everybody's channels when I can. And that's where, when you went off of Twitter, I was like, I need to find him. Where am I going to find when he's on? Because I would always see it in like a little pink banner on the top of my news feed or whatever you want to call it. But they can't. I can only tell people who go and battle people out on X or any other social media, or maybe even in your chats. Like, the minute you let these people get to you, or the minute you change your behavior to try to comport to what they're saying about you, is when you lose power. And I won't do that. So every now and then I'll either swat them back, or I just, ignore them, block them. They'll make nasty comments and then I block them.
Well, that's why I resorted to insults, because you're not going to have a logical debate with these people. They want to ignore the facts that are indisputable, and they cherry pick, and they say that Karen Reed saying I hit him is fact, knowing that it came from a liar who clearly lied on the stand, like multiple liars. And it's all like driven by their hatred for Turtle Boy, which we'll talk about. Before we get into all that, give us a little background on you. Like, give us because I'm gonna take a page out of some of the people who've had me on their channels and the questions they asked me. So give us a little background on what type of attorney you are, how long you've been practicing, how much do you like it, also what got you into true crime, and this case and all of that stuff.
Happy to do that. So I'm kind of dating myself when I say I've been an attorney for just shy of 25 years. But I have been, and I'm an attorney. I practice in a field called healthcare law. I practice in New Jersey and New York, where I have offices in Manhattan and Morristown, New Jersey. And I'm also licensed in the District of Columbia and the Third Circuit. I've essentially do everything, but primarily for healthcare professionals, mostly doctors, and they get into tons of trouble. Administrative bodies, kind of like what you're seeing going, Trooper, or soon to be Mr. Proctor, is going through. He's before an administrative body now. Civil litigations, and you'll see that when Karen gets fully vindicated, she's going to go a civil rights action. And then I also do a lot of criminal defense, and I have. So when I first came
Oh,
out,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
like I started doing criminal defense about 20 years ago, and it makes up about a third of my practice. A lot of doctors get into trouble for all different types of things, not murder, but fraud
Right.
charges and hiding records and criminal battery, touching patients, etc. We could talk. I have
Yeah.
stories for you.
Oh God, I'm sure they're endless. Jesus.
Oh,
Like
it's
I just
fun.
like all just possibilities just like bombarded my brain just now.
I could
And,
tell you
and
guys.
also I thought of, because I'm just a stoner, so I thought of this movie called The 10,
Oh
where
yeah.
this guy, you've seen that movie where
Mhm.
the dude put the scissors in the guy's wife as a goof.
Yep. I've seen it. And I have,
As a goof, guy. I did it as a goof. Oh my
I
God.
could tell you guys stories. Like if I ever come back on, I could tell you tremendous stories about the stupid things doctors do. Like, and if any, and I love my clients, but if anyone thinks that doctors are better than or any different than normal human beings, you're wrong. They put their pants on one leg at a time. And there are some really funny stories I could tell you all, but I essentially have quite a bit of criminal defense background, which is why I found it very funny that when I kind of came into this scene, a lot of people said, "What would a healthcare lawyer from New Jersey have to say about this?" First, let me dispel that myth. You don't need to have criminal defense background if you're a lawyer. You know what's going on in this case is completely upside down and frankly just fucking wrong. But also, with the criminal defense background, that's when I started really resonating with
Right. So like, but you
Federer.
do have a criminal defense background, so
Yeah.
they can eat a dick.
They can eat. Wait, can I look them in the eye and say you can eat a dick if you?
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
got criminal defense.
This is the channel you could do that on. Okay. This is the channel you could do that on. Like,
Yeah, I
say
always
whatever's on
wonder
your
about
mind.
that because I know I don't want anyone to get demonetized, but I
I'm
will.
already gonna be demonetized from the video because of the music.
Oh, all
And I
right.
don't give a shit. So it's fine.
Yeah, it's but I will tell you just to finish up my background, I did very well in school. I made a federal case out of everything growing up. My mom used to tell me, you should be a lawyer, you make a federal case out of everything. I took it to heart. And when I was in like 5th grade, I knew I wanted to either be a bus driver or a lawyer. And I'm like, I don't know. All right, maybe I'll be a lawyer because I used to gravitate towards all of the nightly soap operas, the weekly ones that my mom.
Okay, stop for a second. Stop for a second. It was down to being a bus driver or a lawyer.
It was. I mean, true story. I either wanted to be a bus driver or I wanted to be a lawyer.
Are you not seeing the contrast here that I'm seeing?
I'll tell you, Will, almost once a week, I question why I became an attorney. Because it's hard. It is hard work. Like, I have such tremendous respect for Karen's team because I know lawyers on any given day are working hard and they are in complete hyperdrive. But yeah, there's an interesting dichotomy there between bus driving and being a lawyer. But I used to suffer from insomnia as a child, and I would go to bed and then I would crawl out of bed, go downstairs, go sit with my mother and say, I can't sleep. And she would be up, it'd be like 10 o'clock or so, and she'd be watching like Dallas, Falcon Crest, Knots Landing. For anyone who's a Gen Xer in your audience, you guys might remember that. And
I used to know
always,
all. I used to be
yeah.
able to hum to all the theme songs,
Oh,
but
me
I wouldn't
too.
watch the shows. I would just let the theme song play, and then I change the channel and find something
My
new.
mom used to like just say, snuggle up next to me and rest here. And I would watch these shows, and always the lawyers on these shows were like highfalutin, really powerful people, influence juries, do a lot of wheeling and dealing. And I said I could do that. So I decided to go to law school. And before I did that, I did very well in school, probably too well. And then I went all the way through a college preparatory high school, went to a great college, Fordham, went to New York Law School. In the middle of Fordham, when I was an undergrad, I spent 2 years in South America studying pre-law I lived with a legislator and his family. I had won a fellowship from the president at the time. And
Wow.
I just take this so seriously. And then I kind of started my practice working for firms. I worked for a firm up in Boston for a period of my career. I'm not licensed in Massachusetts yet. And then, fast forward, I started my own firm. Probably, I guess that was every bit of 7 or 8 years ago. And I do very well, and I'm happy to share it with not only Karen Reed's Defense Fund and just give them moral support if I can, but I truly believe donating to the content creators who are pushing out accurate messaging and advocacy for these issues is so important. So, that's how I came to be.
Wow. That's
Thank you.
yeah, that's thank you. Because I've seen creators just go the route of just being overly speculative for the sake of being dramatic and just gaining subscribers that way so they could point fingers at people, and I've always been against that, and I've always spoken up against that. And when a case comes along that the person is actually innocent, it's right up my alley, so
But you have that passionate advocacy that really helps you, and you're so analytical with the bullshit, like you can just peel it all away, which really makes that a tremendous asset to you. Because if you were just someone who
that's what
simply
that's what Alan Jackson was telling me at that dinner, which was
Mhm.
really, really like flattering to say the least. Like it was extremely validating to
It's
have,
so true.
because I'm so deep into this case, and then the person whose brain that I would dream of picking more than anybody's in this whole case, I got to have dinner with and ask him questions, and there most of which I won't repeat live,
Right.
at least not until the trial's over. But some of it was just like I mean, everything that he was saying was just like, wow, okay, I
He's
got
such
it.
a genuine person, like, I can tell. You can tell, maybe you can't, but I can tell as someone who argues before tribunals that he is such a genuine person in how he communicates, that if he made those types of, observations of you and compliments to you, he meant them. And I have to say, I echo his sentiments. You are one of the rarest souls that I have found online to really pull the essence of this case and all of the injustice out to me. And that is why in my house, when you're on, and I know you're on, like I sometimes I miss you, but when you are on, it is mommy's glare time. Like, and no, don't have the AirPods. And I maybe have one in. I'm taking care of my kids. I'm not a bad mother. So trolls, please don't call Child Protective Services. But at the same time, like mommy's glare time, do not interrupt. And right now it's mommy's on glare time. So I'm a celebrity in the house right
Word. Hold on, man. We got to get some applause on that. That's awesome, man. I'm yeah.
Different T-shirt I was going to wear tonight. Will, it said like, did somebody call for a Juris Doctor? And my 9-year-old son came up to me and he said, you have to wear your Lawsome shirt, Mom. You absolutely. He was telling me how to dress for tonight. So this is
that's
like
awesome.
it's a big event in my household.
That's awesome.
And if anyone is wondering, I figured I'd mention this. I'm not doxing myself, but I've gotten a lot of questions about, what's Lawferio? What is the symbolism of that? It happens to rhyme with my married last name. So that's
Okay.
all I'll say. But it does rhyme.
Okay.
It marries my profession with my last name. I'm married.
It sounds cool too, man. Like it rolls off the tongue. Like Only Nan is funny, it's quirky, you know what I mean? But Lawferio has just got some fire to it. Like it sounds like fire,
But Tom CPU, God bless him, he calls me Lawferno, which I love. He'll say, "Oh, Lawferno's in the chat," which I like too because it sounds like Inferno,
Tom still calls Etsy Etsy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
He means well. Yeah, he means well.
Be on with him and Boston Mike. I think Thursday morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're good guys.
They are, man. I'm telling you. The thing is, man, Tom is extremely valuable. Like invaluable. Like Tom has documented. He has been to 99% of the court hearings involving this case, whether it be Karen Reed's, Turtle Boys, or Rich Schiffer's, or anybody's. And he's always, he goes to these standouts, and throughout the whole trial, he was documenting everything, and everything that he documented, everybody was trying to say that. They even said on, what was it, 2020 or Dateline, that, the supporters are rabid, called us rabid. And Tom's out there documenting everything, proving that that's just not true. That's Tom brought the receipts for that. And so when this is all over.
Oh, sorry, Will. Sorry, was it Tom who was told to fuck off when he was like someone was walking into court and I know it was
Jill Daniels' lawyer. Yeah, it was Jill Daniels' lawyer, and Jill Daniels' lawyer was like, "Fuck you," and and then he tried to cover it up. It was really funny. He was like, "That wasn't nice to Tom." Like Tom did something because Tom said good morning.
Yeah.
Tom goes, "Good morning." And he goes, "Fuck you." And so Tom's like, "What?" He's like, "That wasn't very nice." And then Tom goes, "What? Good morning or fuck you?"
See, I can't, it's really hard to communicate this to you or to your audience, but this is the stuff that entertains me. Like I have such a snarky, sarcastic, like it's like almost like a devious sense of humor that when I see that, like Tom says good, I'm making myself laugh. When Tom says good morning, and Jill Daniels' attorney goes fuck off or fuck you, like I'll laugh. I will laugh all day about that. And
then and then fucking Jim Ferris and his rude ass, he fucking body checked him.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck, man? Like, Tom's out there, like, getting hurt. You know what I mean? Getting assaulted just to get this stuff all documented.
Let me tell you something, and I am not kidding when I say this. If I were there, I would have gone to blows on that. I absolutely would have. I'm fiercely
I would have said
protective.
something to him. I'd have been like, what the fuck, man?
What do we have to lose? Dude. Let's get ourselves in trouble with law enforcement.
Tom's so small and Jim Ferris is so big, and he's just such a goon. Like he's just this silent goon. Like there's so many people in this case, you can't fucking make them up. Like if you made this movie fictional, if none of this happened, and then you had a Grant Smith Ellis, you had a Plevin, you had a fucking dude. Like it wouldn't be believable. It wouldn't be believable. What's going to sell this movie when it's made, because it will be made, I guarantee you, it's too crazy, is that it is a true story. That's what's going to sell it.
Yeah, like it needs to be called like better than fiction. Like this will be a movie someday. And one of the trolls had said, "Oh, who do you expect to play you in the movie?" I'm like, I don't play any role.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I think about who would play people in the movie, and that would be a fun poll to have. Like if you were to start doing casting, because it is so bizarre what is going on from the legal aspects, from the drama, from the strife between the the boots on the ground and the anti-free Karen readers, the Turtle Boy subtext, which is running completely parallel, and I follow that. That's another thing people have been commenting on. People say, "Well, I understand you're taking a position on Karen Reed, but you really seem to also be supporting Turtle Boy." Yeah, I do, because
Yeah.
it's to me both of these cases are both examples of law enforcement running amok up there, and it's all intertwined. That's why the other day when Brennan is before the court, like trying with a straight face to argue that the Birchmore case is not related whatsoever to I'm sitting there going, "Are you kidding?" And I was sitting in court listening to this, basically laughing and going, "Bullshit. It is 100% related, but it's one big theme." So yes, I am, you didn't ask, but I am a major Turtle Boy supporter. Um, anyone can have opinions on comments he makes and whether they think that they're appropriate or not. I happen to think he's fully justified in everything he says. And
That's what I'm saying. Is Turtle Boy, can Turtle Boy be like a fucking rattlesnake? Absolutely. But only if you're poking a fucking stick at him, dude.
Oh, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's like he's said things previously where he's like, I will go after, if you come after me, like I'm not going to forget, and I'm going to make sure that there's some type of reckoning. That doesn't mean he's going to like hurt someone, but he's got a long memory.
No, I went over his charges. I did. It took 5 live streams to do it. And I got a copy, I got a file with all of his charges on them. And I went over each one, and in the charges they reference his videos on his channel. Yeah. It was very telling, because I had just gotten to know Turtle. I had literally just had him on my channel for the first time 2 days before that.
Right.
Before he got charged. Something like 2 days. And then he gets charged. I'm like, hold on. All right, I'm going to go over each one of these charges. And I went over each one. They even referenced, and I thought it was very telling. Turtle Boy didn't take any of the videos down.
Right.
He didn't privatize any of them. And whenever a creator is getting sued or accused of something like this, normally that's what they'll do. And so Turtle Boy right there was already telling me he had nothing to hide. So I was like, all right, so this is great. And then I referenced each one and I was like, look at this shit. That's not even what it'll say he's doing one thing and then give the video reference and then you can see it for yourself. It's not what he's saying or doing.
Right.
So they're totally trumped up charges. So, and he's like, it's totally crazy because the irony in this is amazing because they charged him to try to shut him up because he was exposing collusion and corruption in the Karen Reed case. Yet he wasn't able to prove it until they charged him falsely. Yes. Which and then colluded to have him locked up with his crazy ex-fling.
Yeah, and I find that, it's very unfortunate what has happened to him, in my opinion, but I find that extremely interesting because now that they charged him, he can prove it because he's procured all of the receipts. And, I certainly
he always brings receipts. Always,
including, the Paul
I
O'Keefe.
have been watching him closely, dude. There's too many people that hate this guy for me to not watch him closely at every fucking thing he does. I dissect everything that this guy covers at this point.
Oh yeah.
And so at least as far as this case goes, and he's always bringing the receipts. So far, he has not done anything that makes me go, no, that's not okay. He's not just
Right.
he's just throwing shit out there. That's not what he does.
He's got the receipts, and he'll it's hard to give examples, but during his shows, he'll say, "Oh, they claim I did this," and he explains himself. He'll put receipts on the screen and say, "This is what it said," or "Look at this article that I wrote." He's got an encyclopedic knowledge of not only the Karen Reed case, but also just a lot of the local occurrences and lore that's going on up there. And I do believe that when he got access, however that access truly came under his nose, and he was able to start reporting on the Karen Reed travesty, I don't even think he knew all that he had or all that would be uncovered. I believe,
Right.
I think it was the 2:27 a.m. Google search, if I recall, that really got him.
Yeah.
Right. And
that's the thing is with this case, for a lot of people, it's usually comes down to either the 227 Google search or John O'Keefe's injuries and the inconsistency with the vehicle.
Right.
So,
and then all that other stuff starts, unfolding. Like, here's one example. Does anyone think that we would all know that Nicholas Guarino was such a piece of shit as we know now? He is a dirty cop. All of these are my opinion.
In my opinion, I agree with you, and I would go as far as to say that he is probably the most obviously dirty one out of all of them.
Oh, I agree.
Because his hands are all over every single case when it comes to the tech evidence being mishandled. 100%. His hands are all over and in Karen Reed's case, Turtle Boy's case, Sandra Birchmore's case, like every single one.
I agree. And we wouldn't have known that. I don't know let me say what my opinion is, but I don't think we would have even really truly known that, but for what's been really uncovered with Birchmore. I mean, there are things that we know, like, for example, the whole issue of driving up the hill on the flattest road of America, which, by the way, is another reason why I love Aiden, because he's, I will laugh all day long at a video of him saying, "Hey kid, watch out for the hill on the flattest road in America." But, we look at a lot, seriously, this is the stuff that gives me great joy. But we know that
it's fun, dude.
Well,
following Turtle Boy's work is fun, dude, because it's always some new shit. Like this latest shit with John O'Keefe or with Paul O'Keefe, excuse me. Holy shit. Like, what in the fuck?
But what was funny? Because I gleaned that you knew, right? You acknowledged that there was going to be this information that came out, right?
Yeah,
but the look on your face when you found this out on, I guess it was Thursday, towards the latter part of your stream, you were like a kid on Christmas morning, oh my God.
Because I already knew about it. But
yeah,
I already knew about it, but I knew, I was like, I can't talk about it. It was just something that came up when we had dinner while I was up there.
Yeah. But it's funny.
And it was just happening. He was like, dude, this is the craziest shit in the world. Like this woman who's been texting with Paul O'Keefe reached out to me. I was like, holy shit. Dude, so I had to keep quiet about that. I had to keep quiet about Alan Jackson not being and the team not being paid. I had to keep quiet about it. There was a lot of secrets. And Betterow being brought on, I had to keep that quiet. It was a lot.
It's so
but
funny.
I wanted to bust.
But I mean, now I know if I ever have a secret, I can confide in you. My
Oh, for
newest
sure. Yeah.
my newest
Um,
friend, because you have discretion. But I will say though,
it's in the
when
vault.
when you when it became clear that he published it and you were like, "Oh my God, this is great." You looked so happy. Something else had occurred right around when that broke, and I can't remember what it was, but I was watching your stream and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what you were so happily surprised about that you could bring it up." But just that kind of coverage that you had of Turtle Boy's article at the time and what was being revealed, the humor that you brought to it, the humor Aiden brought to it as well, but just
Dude.
the that real
And
sheer
this shit,
snark.
dude, this shit just landed in his lap. He didn't seek it out. He didn't plant that woman, nothing like that. Like she reached out to him like, dude, I just realized that this guy's a piece of shit. And you should know that he fucking was drunk during his testimony. Like,
That's
what?
a serious concern, by the way, Will.
Dude, right. And here's the
Serious.
thing. This is a subject that I actually wanted to talk to you about. So let's talk about that for a second, because a lot of people are talking about Paul O'Keefe taking the stand in this next trial, and will that come up? Will the defense bring that up?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes, they will. I mean, implicit in everything I tell you is the fact that Judge Bev is like the major variable. Like, do I think it will come up? Yes. Should it come up? Yes. Will Judge Bev say, "Hold on a second, everyone come to sidebar," if she thinks something's inappropriate? Possibly. But yeah, it's relevant. Normally, lawyers will say things in depositions, and sometimes at trial will say, "Are you under the influence of anything that would impair your ability to understand my questions and to provide truth and accurate testimony?" Now,
And then bring up
his prior
the text messages and everything, and show them and be like, did you send these texts? See, here's my concern with that. And I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, we're spitballing.
So in theory, I would think that it wouldn't be that simple. In theory, I would think that you would be concerned of how that would come off to the jury. Attacking the victim's family member and loved one like that on the stand and accusing them of not being credible.
Yeah.
So it's just I feel like in theory it could be risky to take that chance with the jury.
So
depending on the timing of when it comes up.
So
right?
let me be really clear. His
Real
dalliance.
quick. In theory, I'm sorry.
Go
But
ahead.
real
your
quick, I
show.
just don't want to lose. I don't want to lose this thought. The in theory, what I feel like would happen is the defense, if the defense has the jury already, then it would be okay. But if they don't have them yet, I feel like it would be too risky. Does that make sense?
It does. And you have really good instinct for this. But just to be clear, the fact that Paul O'Keefe had some type of dalliance with someone, that would likely not be admissible. They could try, defense could try and ask questions about this, his behavior and texting with another woman. That's not relevant evidence. Like, I think Alan Jackson and the team should go for it and try, but I understand if Judge Bev would not allow that in. What would come in if Bev allowed it, and she should, is him giving testimony under the influence previously. Now, I have no reason to suspect that he did not that he gave inaccurate or untruthful evidence or testimony in trial 1.0, but they're allowed to ask about that. But the whole extramarital
And that's a good point. Is like, what would it prove? Because the truth is Paul O'Keefe really didn't say anything that bad about Karen Reed when he testified. They didn't even cross-examine him.
That's a great point, because when
go
ahead.
They might not. I mean, I just feel like they might not even bring it up, on these under these reasons.
So I never felt that Erin O'Keefe, Paul O'Keefe, and some others had any value added to the story that the prosecution needed to paint to the jury.
Agreed.
But it is, in my opinion, and I've never been a prosecutor, I've always been a criminal defense attorney. But, in my opinion, it's important to humanize family as victims.
Right.
Okay, so I understand why they called the O'Keefes, and maybe
That's what I was thinking. I think Lally was trying to do that, and he had their testimonies be in more of a positive light of Karen, so it doesn't look like, oh, we're just trying to crucify this poor woman.
that's
We
right.
actually liked her.
That's right. But also, when you never want to make it look like you're ganging up on victims, and family
Right.
are victims. They are under
Right.
the statutes. They are victims. So
Agreed.
when I became a baby lawyer, one of my mentors at the time used to say, "To what end?" He would say to me, why do you want to ask that question? Because I was extremely aggressive, and I'm like, I'm going to ask about this, and this. And he would say, "To what end, Nan?" And I exercised restraint in my practice. I'm like, I guess I don't need to get every little nugget of information.
It makes sense to try to strategize your moves, like think 3 moves ahead when you're
Yes.
going to ask a question. Where's that question going to take you in 3 moves?
Yeah,
You
and
know?
most juries are smart enough to know that you are putting the most important information in front of them. However, I did want to bring up a point to you, and to your audience, which is for trial 2.0, it is my opinion that even though the defense really didn't ask questions of certain witnesses like Paul O'Keefe, Erin, even who was it? It's escaping me, but Kerry Roberts.
Yeah.
They will. There are now in trial 2.0, there will now be at a minimum a very rigorous cross of Kerry Roberts, for example. And I know at the time when she testified, and it's probably worth at some point before the trial 2.0 starts to dig back into her testimony. But just to kind of refresh and review on it. But they laid off of her because she wasn't, in my opinion, really harmful to the defense. They need to go at her this time. So, and in addition to calling additional witnesses, because they only had like 5 or 6 witnesses on their defense case in 1.0. So you're going to see a very different trial this time around. But as far as Paul is concerned, like his out of everything, I think he's morally bankrupt, just like I'm bankrupt from all of my donations, apparently. But he's morally bankrupt. But when you think about it,
I feel like he's just got a real bad drinking problem and got shitty and just feels sorry for himself too much to where like he justifies doing shitty things. And
he lost us really 2 siblings, one related to this case, of course, but he's been through a lot. The family's been through a lot, but I don't and I don't want to malign their family, but I will not hold back by saying their family has taken some steps here that I find really bothersome as it relates.
I agree. I mean, look, man, it's like, are you a Curb Your Enthusiasm fan by any chance? I would imagine you would be.
Yes.
So do you remember the episode? It was one of the later seasons where he's dating this girl, and then she was talking about how I guess her father died, and it was like already like 2 years. She was like, yeah, my father died, and he goes, like that, and she's just like, what? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's like, I feel like the I'm sorry already expired. I feel like that's already, that ship has sailed already. Why the I'm sorry? It's
I totally
she's like,
agree.
it's just what you say. But I agree with him. It's like, okay, where's the cap? So how much shit do you get away with under the guise that you're grieving to do horrible shit? You know what I'm saying? Like bring in Lindsay Gattani to the courthouse, to the courtroom,
Right.
Was shitty. Bringing the McAlberts the day of jury
The
instructions. Yeah.
Oh, was it
I
the
mean,
closing? Yeah, it was the closings and the instructions. Yes.
right.
But also, which by the way, I have really strong opinions on that. By bringing in those, and I remember everyone, I think Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, Colin Albert, that's all I remember at the time who were there. And I know Ronnie, the juror, kind of said, well, I felt intimidated. I didn't feel in fear, but I felt intimidated. It was intimidating. And I think, I'm going on the record and people can call me Spicy Nan or which is, I guess, what a lot of people are calling me now. I think it was wholly inappropriate. The way that courtroom is set up, from what I can observe as a viewer, it's really problematic when you have the victim's family that's just in the complete line of the camera the entire time, and then behind them was Brian Albert, Jen McCabe, I think Colin Albert, sitting back there staring, and I'm assuming
Yeah,
the
it was
jury is
Brian
right.
Albert. It was Brian Albert, Colin Albert, Jen McCabe, and Carrie Roberts, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but let's not forget, and I'm going by information reported to me, that these are people who weren't even at John O'Keefe's funeral, right? So they're not at his funeral. They presumably didn't watch the trial because there was a sequestration order, which I believe.
Yeah, but we know that's bullshit because
Total
Proctor, Proctor and his text messages pretty much already say that he was texting with Lally. So
I'm sorry, they were all watching. I know it. Like I probably
they were.
And but then when you have them staring
Sure.
at the jury like that, it is meant to be intimidating. So I would care less about this fact if I saw people like Brian Albert, Jen McCabe, Kerry Roberts, Colin Albert, and any other McAlbert, like just standing out there with the anti-free Karen Reed movement at every standout or every trial or court appearance, but they're not. I mean, I occasionally see that Jen McCabe pops up. But this is all a show, which is really maddening to someone like me. And I think, the more I consider it, people like Kerry Roberts, I think her testimony is going to be much different this time around, because I'm on the fence right now on whether she was like an active participant in this cover up, or if she duped by others. And really, I'm 50-50. But you know what? If I'm 50 that she's gotten duped by McAlbert's, or I'm 50% that she's been part of an active cover up,
I'm leaning
reasonable doubt. It's reasonable doubt,
I'm right. It is reasonable doubt at the end of the day, but I'm leaning that that she is duped by the McAlberts and doesn't like Karen.
Right.
And so this is what she's doing. She's just going along with the narrative the same way that Turtle Boy haters go after him. And I think that that's what's going on with Carrie Roberts right now is she's just going along with the narrative. She wants to believe Karen hit him with the car. Right. And she's going to, go that way. But that's just my opinion. I don't know if that's the case. It's just what I'm observing and what I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this next trial is, if there is a trial, because I'm holding out hope on a motion to dismiss, which I'm sure was filed, but hasn't either been disseminated or what. If people get their hands on it, I'm sure it'll be all over your content creator streams, including your own, by Monday or so. And I don't think Bev will grant it, But once, I'll hold out hope for it. But once there's trial 2.0, if there's trial 2.0, it's going to look much different. And I do believe the defense is going to learn. They will learn. They'll learn from Ronnie, the juror. They'll learn from the mistrial itself. They'll learn from how they now have seen Bev in full action, without how she handles objections, how she, in my opinion, has a complete bias towards the prosecution, whether it was Lally or now Brennan. I'm very interested to see what happens Tuesday on that, because Brennan completely stepped in it. And now they've taken their wounds, or taken their licks, and the defense will come out differently. I hope also with Betterow, and now they have Alessi, so they've got a lot to spread around in terms of work divvying up and strategy. So it's going to look remarkably different this time, and I do plan on coming up a couple days. I don't know when that's going to be, but I will come up for it.
Right on. Yeah.
You should too.
I would absolutely, if I can, will go again. I mean, I plan on doing so at some point during trial, most likely. But yeah, I definitely recommend that you go up there and experience meeting everybody. They're just the best people in the world. I don't have one. Even meeting Grant was pleasant, So like, yeah, everybody was
Really?
nice. Everybody
Really?
was nice to me.
Oh, wait,
There was one guy. I've been up there 4 times. There was one guy who, I was sitting at the bar, and some dude comes by and walks by me, and he's like, "Yo, tell Turtle Boy he's a bitch." And I was like, "You tell him." Like,
Yeah,
he was just here. It's like, he was just here. Why didn't you tell him?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that was literally the only thing. But like, yeah, everybody is just incredibly hospitable every time I've been up there. Like, so kind.
I'm really looking forward. I understand that it's in the outskirts of Boston. I get it, but Boston is my favorite city to visit. I'm very familiar with it, and going up to Massachusetts is something I do at least once.
You'll feel right at home then. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I truly want to stand with boots on the ground, and shake hands and give people hugs. And I know a lot of people wanted to see my my Morse code bracelet, which as was featured in Joe Flipperhead's video. It's Morse code. It says "fuck off," which I truly believe needs to be the mentality, because if you let the adversaries have their way, like, they're just going to run right over you. So,
but they're dissipating little by little. You know what I mean? Like, the more this case goes on, the more obvious that Karen is innocent. It just goes on and on. Like, just the way Brennan is going about this
such a
is so telling to everyone, even the trolls. Like, to the point to where they can't deny it. He's not presenting a case. Like, you have that one idiot that was, the whoever she was that's on TikTok or whatever. And she's like, "Fuck around and find out, Hank Brennan." Like, oh, and this dude has done nothing but just babble and whine and make excuses and point fingers elsewhere and deflect and try to stop Karen from having a defense. That's all he's done. He hasn't presented anything.
And someone like me who has legal training, and I'm not alone. I mean, besides Karen's lawyers, look at like Melanie Little, Peter Tragos, Emily Baker, Ian Runkle. Like, insert any lawyer into this sentence. We look at what Brennan did the other day, and not just at the other day's hearing, but even before that, and we go, this is so unprofessional. What he's doing, this gaslighting and the snark that he brought to the last hearing was just completely, in my opinion,
this is an absolute shit show.
It is. And I'm here for it.
It is a kangaroo court. It is insane. And Bev is just allowing it to happen. But if there's even a whiff of anything from Alan Jackson or anyone on Karen Reed's defense, Bev is all over it like a fly on shit.
I
You
think
know?
they need to make, I agree. And I think they need to make a renewed application to remove her. I do. And I don't say that lightly, but
I agree.
the bias is so apparent. And I said on another stream recently, like, in my opinion, she should have recused herself once the original challenge to remove her was made. The appearance of impropriety, as far as I'm concerned, was enough for her to say, I understand, I don't feel that I have partiality or bias here, but because of what's been alleged and the seriousness of it, and the fact that there are some really grounded reasons why she that have been pointed out, why she does potentially have a lack of impartiality, she should have bowed out. But in looking at all of the reasons, this bias towards the defense, the sheer number of objections that she and just evidentiary rulings that she ruled in favor of the prosecution on versus the defense. What she did the other day was, in my opinion, completely improper. And I know people like Alan Jackson.
What, having a conniption fit on the bench there?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. and if everyone should watch it again, because you will see once I almost called him Frank. Once Hank backed off of it and realized that he misrepresented. Once Spanky said, like, oh, I'm sorry, I got it from the defense, it was almost as if, she de-escalated and was like, oh, okay. And then she even said to Alan Jackson, you can appear by Zoom. Meanwhile, a year ago, she's like, can't you take the red eye? There's someone with a handle is called like Jackson's Red Eye. She needed him there in person on a prior hearing, but now, from what I understand, he won't, but he could appear by Zoom. So she completely de-escalated. And there are issues for her to inquire about of Jackson and his communications with ARCA. I'm not worried about them.
Neither am I.
If anyone has questions about that, I'm happy to answer it. But, it's just not uncommon to
There's
have.
nothing about Alan Jackson that indicates to me that he would do something as careless as what they are trying to catch him on here.
Yeah. And it's a gift. The fact that the feds engaged ARCA is so unprecedented. It is such a gift to the defense, which I always remind people. Let's not forget, the prosecution had equal access to ARCA, and they chose to just ignore it. That's why people like Vinnie Politan, who, I have opinions about him as well. And I understand he takes a kind of more of a mainstream approach when on his court TV type of platform versus his own personal platform. But even Vinnie Politan is going, like, it's all about the truth here. Why would the prosecution want to ignore this completely impartial, third-party, uber qualified set of experts' opinions on how this accident did or did not occur?
And then block the jury from knowing who hired them.
Right. So I look at this as complete bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. So, I think about.
Bev tried to say that it's because it would prejudice the jury and it would risk Karen Reed not having a fair trial. And it's like, wait a minute. No, like, the jury has a right to know this. The jury has a right to know this, and Karen Reed has a right for the jury to know this fact that the FBI hired these experts.
Agreed. But that's a great point, Will. Here's another piece to that. So court rules will say, and this is in every court, evidentiary rules will say, you don't want to put evidence before a jury that will prejudice them or bias them as to one party or another. I get it. But there's another part to the same rule, which says you don't want to put evidence in that confuses a jury. So it'll say prejudice or confusion or misleading a jury. If anyone wants to know those types of evidentiary rules, I'm happy to point them out to you. Just reach out to me. But most importantly to me, I don't care so much that the mention of a federal investigation would prejudice this case or prejudice the jury. I actually care that this jury was confused and misled by not
Right.
revealing, because we had heard it
That's what I'm
previously,
saying.
and now Ronnie has officially confirmed that there were people in that room who thought it was, an insurance company. Maybe it was Turtle Boy, or maybe a privately engaged expert related to the Reeds. No, they were completely confused. Had they
Sure.
known that this was another investigating body, not an insurance company or Turtle Boy or someone else, that doesn't prejudice the case. And it's all about the truth. Like, you shouldn't mislead them. They were confused. So I do think there should be a renewed application on that.
That
And
would have been, I mean, it's like Karen said, it's 95% of the case,
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I mean, that would have absolutely, if the jury knew that the FBI was investigating the investigation and had already seen plenty of reason presented by the defense as to why, such as red solo cups, such as a lack of any chain of custody, witnesses not being interviewed for days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. I mean,
Right.
no search of the house, all of these things, along with the FBI investigating the investigation, would have won Karen Reed an acquittal.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
agree. Which reminds me, I want to mention one thing on top of that and one other thing to your audience. In the other day's hearing, when you hear Brennan say things like, the defense is entitled to no more than me giving them this video. Like, it's going to be clicked and dragged, or clicked in drag, which was hysterical. I loved your thumbnail. I can't, like, seriously, I think I spit my drink out when I saw it. But, normally, let's talk about the normal world of criminal prosecutions. Yeah, the defense is entitled to all videos, all evidence, not just, sanitized or partial, or inverted or any of that. They're entitled to it all, the videos that might be relevant, as well as other evidence. But in this case, the fact that there have been repeated disclosures, late disclosures, I'm sure there's going to be more. Mark my words, there will be more disclosures by the prosecution, even though they're out of time to do it, because of the lack of authenticity of what's been produced, the inverted videos, the newly produced video of Higgins ordering a fucking pizza at one. I know that's one of the theories, or that's been joked about. All of that makes the metadata and the logs and chain of custody 150% relevant. This is on complete hyperdrive. So I want to see that hammered in by the defense. It's not just, well, yeah, hey, we're entitled to the video.
In Guarino missing 3,200 text messages from Sandra Birchmore.
Right.
And then the results of what's happening with Sandra Birchmore's case right now, that should absolutely be relevant to this jury. This jury should know this about the fact that this guy who is initially dealing with the 2:27 a.m. search and and is handling the tech in this case, missed 32,000 text messages in the Sandra Birchmore case. And it turns out that that was key in not determining that she was murdered and saying that it was a suicide. And
I think Guarino are you watching Nicholas Guarino? Which, by the way, I love when you pronounce it like that. It harkens back to my Spanish training, and I'm fluent in Spanish. So, hey, Guarino, are you watching? You are going to be in huge trouble. They're looking at you. Lawyer up if you haven't already. But that is 100% relevant. And when you think about what Guarino did there, the defense wants to be able to show that he is a complete Nimrod when it comes to doing his job. He's a complete Nimrod. If you're going to miss 32,000 texts in another case,
it's that he can't be a Nimrod in some cases and then be really good at his job in others.
Same
that
with Proctor.
Indicates that, right, exactly. Just like Proctor with the Anna Walsh investigation. He conducted that investigation like a fucking oiled machine. And then the all of the shit that's going on with the Karen Reed case is just a polar opposite of that. It's on another spectrum. And you're like, okay, that tells me that he is dirty, not negligent, you know?
I agree. By the way, I saw someone in your chat saying Guarino is Italian. I know that, but the way Will pronounces it is actually how a Latino person would pronounce it. I get it.
Exactly.
I am married to an Italian. I
I don't give a fuck how the Italians fucking pronounce it. I'm pronouncing it how
Guarino.
my mom and my grandmother and my uncles would pronounce it. That's all I give a shit about.
He is Italian, and he is a complete jerk and bad at his job. You heard it here first. But I did also want to mention one last thing, which is I would like to make an offer to you, Will, for any super chat that you get tonight. I'm going to match that donation and throw it right to the Karen Reed Defense Fund.
What?
So, yeah, I don't know how to track it. You're going to have to let me know what your numbers were.
All right. I'm going to go through them like periodically. I have a few here that I'm just going to go over in just a second. I'm going to turn the floor over to you completely just for a moment. And then,
geez. All right.
Yeah.
Should I, let me do a dance. No, I don't. But I'm just happy to make any type of match of your super chats to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I think it's really important to support her financially. It is very expensive to launch a defense like this. I get nothing out of it. I'm not bankrupting my family. I'm also not going to end up on food stamps, and I'm not squandering retirement savings. I just feel like perhaps if I can do this, and I'm very lucky enough to be in a position where I can, I just feel like maybe some other people can step up and throw $1 here, $1 there. So I do consider myself one of all of you. And hopefully you can all tell a friend, not about me, but tell a friend, hey, let me tell you about this Karen Reed case, because that's what I try to do. If I'm striking up conversations with people, or I have one free Karen Reed piece of apparel, and I talk about it. And when anyone asks me about true crime, which is one of my passions, and a lot of people do know about that, I say this is the most important case right now. And the more attention, I'm not talking about money, the more attention we can place on it, the better, because it will help influence mindsets. And I do believe in force multiplication. So I will match any super chat and throw it to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. And please don't force me to do that tonight, because I'm going to be watching Eden after this.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. I would have to, in order to, I guess I could just go through them later on. I mean, I'm gonna go through them now. I'm gonna read them off, so like if anybody wants to, but thank you so much. That is incredibly generous. I don't even know what to say.
My pleasure.
That's crazy.
It's really just a pleasure talking to you. I'm like pinching myself. So
what?
Yeah.
Well, that's how everybody feels about you here. Like, I know everybody's wanted to have you on, But let's go over some of these real quick before people start going crazy, because I think they already are. Holy shit. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Don't bankrupt me, people.
Yeah, don't bankrupt her now.
Hey, this is a binding contract, though, if you want to learn a little bit about law. So I've made an offer and you've accepted. So
Wow.
that is a binding contract. Although I will tell you, we'll see how high the super chats go, because I may have to stagger my matching donation, but I'm going to do it, folks, because I believe in this case. I believe in Karen. I believe in not only her defense and her defense team, but I know a little bit about what it takes to put it together and to do all the work that's being done for her. But most importantly, I believe that law enforcement and the prosecution up there is a bunch of corrupt assholes. And I'm not afraid to come out saying that. I will not go as far as saying that I think Judge Bev is corrupt. I'm not going to say that. You can. Yeah, I think there's a bias there that really concerns me.
See, that to me is it's technically corruption. If you are, the way that I've ordered it many times before, and I'll say it over and over again, if you are sworn to make decisions in the interest of justice every time, and you consistently seem to do the opposite of that throughout this for the last 3 years.
Right.
And I mean, it's consistent, man. It's consistent. You can't tell me it isn't.
It is.
That is a corrupt judge. Your job has been corrupted. Your position, your credibility has been corrupted.
So I have some ethical obligations that I have to adhere to, but I will say this. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't know if she's
I get it.
Part of a conspiracy or
I don't know about all that either. I'm just saying that I'm comfortable using the word corrupt based on what I just explained. That's,
by the way,
to me, that technically it applies.
Yeah, and by the way, before I forget, 2 things. One, I'm drinking vodka. So as your stream goes on, it might get even more fun. But also, I wanted everyone to know that the more I think about this case, and that all of these pieces that just make people like me lose sleep and go, what the fuck is going on? I have to tell you that all of your attention, support, comments, questions especially, really do help. They just help spread the word, because even if you just ask a question to me or to someone else on social media or in your personal lives, it's just bringing awareness. And I just want to bring awareness. I think more people need to understand this.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, and that was, what I loved about Betero too. And Betero just like being like, I can do more, and is doing everything even more that he can, is just, this is the most inspiring thing that I have ever been a part of. Like, no matter what happens with my life after this trial, I can look back at this and be extremely proud of the people that I interacted with, the reach that we made. It's wild. Like,
you are beloved, Will. You are beloved.
So are you, and so is Karen, and so is Aiden, and so is Mazza, and everybody else.
All of them.
And it's really dope, man. It's really dope.
That reminds me, when you mentioned Betero, when the other night on Thursday, when it appeared Aiden had broken his story on Paul, I call him Paul O'Glaze now. But anyway, when you broke that story, I actually thought you were commenting on, or about to comment on, some of the tweets that have been coming out from Betero, which I don't know if you've seen.
Oh, I've seen a couple of them. I know I screenshot 1 or 2 of them and put them in my page on Facebook.
There's just some little vague, and to anyone watching, they may have nothing to do with this matter whatsoever. He's just posted some very philosophical tweets out there. But that was what I was like, oh, is he going to post? Or were you going to start talking about some of Bettero's forward-looking posts? But no, it was Aiden's story about Paulo Glaze.
Yeah, dude, like that was crazy. Hold on. Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
Look, I got my badass glasses on. If there's something I need to read.
All right. So I'm gonna start going over these one by one, is what I'm gonna do. All right. So we've got Lizzie Bone says this is the collaboration we've all been waiting for. Fire. This opening is pure fire. Love it. Thank you so much, Lizzie Bones. Gerda K is a member for 13 months. What a day for my anniversary. Right on. Happy anniversary. Ask Bob, member for 11 months. And Ask Bob, Bev has subjected Karen to double jeopardy. The Massachusetts law should say the judge must poll the jury and not may. How about a new precedent? That would be nice. Thank you so much, Ask Bob. Jerry Gray, what do you think of judicial immunity that Aussie Insider has brought up? I have not seen that. Judicial immunity, I know that has been brought up and talked about from time to time. But I feel like if she breaks a federal law, then the feds could still indict her.
By the way, Will, I made notes before, and it's backwards now, but the first note I wrote for tonight was judicial immunity, because I did see Aussie Insider's video. And
okay.
Jerry, which, by the way, I think you're Jerry Gray from Canada. I think you're, because some of your chats.
Yeah, he's got the Canadian flag right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say, I think that if it is shown and someone makes an application to show that she has overstepped her bounds, committed misconduct, made decisions that completely went above and beyond what she has discretion to decide, I think Judge Canoni has some real issues to face in the future. If anyone hasn't seen Aussie Insider's pretty short video, it's worth a watch. It's
okay,
worth thinking about, as well as Microdots.
Yeah,
recent
Aussie Insider, man, she puts out some good videos, man. She really does. Very insightful stuff. Sherry D says Nan's t-shirt collection is like none other.
It's I've got thousands.
I don't know, bro. Mine's pretty good.
Mine's
pretty good.
My son asked Will if you were going to wear your bring lawyers, guns, and money shirt tonight. So
I wore it to court. But
I know
I had a sports jacket on over it, so I don't think Bev could read it. But I was sitting behind the family. Can the defense ask Paul on cross about how Karen bailed him out for a DUI?
Wow, it's a great question. Yeah, I would say yes. I would go for it as a defense counsel, because it shows it is relevant to show Karen's level of compassion for him. Also, it ties into the fact that, from what I'm gathering recently, the prosecution was trying to elicit some testimony from Paul O'Keefe's nephew about Karen kind of yelling at him over eating steak tips and or takeout food. So if they want to, we call that opening the door. If you're going to open the door towards Karen's manner of treating members of the O'Keefe family, I think it's fair game. I think they should go for it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the fact is what Paul's done is completely inappropriate. I mean, he's using this trial to pick up women. Like, what's his plan? Like, he's going to have his side piece next to him and on one side and his wife on the other. What is he thinking?
I agree. And Will, I know you got a bunch of super chats here, but let's not forget. I understand that Paul O'Keefe lost a brother here, but
right.
How many people in the audience had any type of feeling that, remember at the end of the mistrial when Paul O'Keefe went up to Karen and exchanged words with her, and it was like, oh, what was that about? And we later came to understand that he basically said, I'm not done with you, or we're not done with you yet.
Right.
No, like, seriously, audience. how many people got like the cringe? Like, did that not feel like a scene right out of like a soap opera? I'm not done with you. I'm coming for you.
Right.
Like,
It's
it,
and now you wonder, was he drunk then?
right.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck
Yeah, it
is
was.
with this dude?
And feelings matter. I understand he lost a family member, but you know, I think the O'Keefe, my opinion, the O'Keefes
But
need to
he's
understand.
ignoring the fact that he's ignoring all the facts.
Yes.
He's simply just ignoring everything that is just plain as day that Karen Reed is absolutely innocent of this crime.
If you can fall in love with a woman over a course of a couple weeks through like a phone and text message exchange, then you can fall very easily for the Kool-Aid the McAlberts want you to drink. And
I guess so, but at the same time, it makes me like you're a grown man, dude, and it's so obvious. So it's like I have a hard time feeling sorry for you at this point. Like now, with more and more that comes out, you know, who would have thought that there would have been video footage of Higgins on his phone outside of the Canton PD?
he's got
Who would have
real,
thought? Nobody
real
saw that
problems.
coming, and that's coming out now in 2025.
By
You know
the
what
way,
I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna make an offer to you. If you ever want to stream Higgins' testimony and just have like a laughing commentary session together, I'm happy to do it because Higgins has stepped in it so many times with what he did admit to on the stand in 1.0 and now add this whole issue of the new phone call on video. Like I could give you color commentary from a lawyer all day long on that shit. Higgins, you got some real problems.
Dude, yeah, seriously.
I know you're a decorated dude, but you got some real problems.
He does, bro. Yeah, and Live, Laugh, Toaster Bath. Thank you. I want the Coen brothers to direct the movie LaFargo. I dig that idea, but I prefer Steven Soderbergh.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think that this is more up his alley. And Kat Randall gifted 5 memberships. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. And LS Mila, please can you change the super chat's theme to Spanky? Probably not, but thank you, LS Mila. K Wags, just for the Nan matching. You both amazing. Keep exposing and fighting. That's awesome. Thank you, K Wags. You go, Nan. Love you.
Thanks, badass.
Thank you, badass bitch.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's what it's. Yeah.
Where'd my
Elizabeth Eagleston, thank you so much. Thanks, Claire and Nan. JD, thank you. Clay's and Nanny. you would handle them.
That's
Love you both.
awesome.
Thanks for all you're doing. Nancy, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Shauna D, thank you for your generosity. Nan, free Karen Reed. Are you writing all this shit down? I'm just
Not
kidding.
at all. Not at all. But I can restream it and write it down. I promise, guys. Just give me a few days. I will properly track the numbers.
There's a way for me to do it too, because it can show the time and date and stuff like that. I just gotta remember where I gotta go to look for that in YouTube Studio. But and then free Karen Reed for Better Rose breakdowns. Thank you so much. Better Rose drapes for Nan too much. Love this. Oh my gosh, so good. Amor of Alessi. I also put $5 in Karen Reed fund with the note only Nan.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome. Bex, thank you so much. Thank you, Nan and Will, free Karen Reed. Jen Kitty, thank you so much, free Karen Reed. Christine K, aka K fan, thank you for your kindness, generosity. Nan, free Karen Reed, thanks for all you do. Will, thank you so much, Angel. There's a lot of these.
That's okay. Will, read them, Will.
Okay.
Because I mean, or unless you want me to, but these people who are doing this, like you all are, you're just you're my heroes because you're having a good time on a Saturday night. I told Will before the show, I said, thank you in advance for showing me the best date on a Saturday night I've had in years.
My pleasure.
It's so important. It's so important what you're doing. And look, you're absolutely, you're having fun. You're contributing to Will and you're contributing to Karen Reed. So thank you.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you so much. This is crazy.
Although I have to say though, we're gonna have more fun if you all start putting like real snarky shit in your comments. Like
yeah.
Will and I will chuckle.
Yes. Make the comments fun. Watching this show from Australia. Keep up the good work, both you, Karen Reed. Yes, thank you so much from Australia. That's crazy. And Lori Donnelly, hypnotherapist. Way to go, putting money where the mouth is. Jumped into this in the Sally Port and haven't been able to find my way back. So for this person, it was the Sally Port. So there's, dude, you could fucking pick something out of a fucking hat as to why you think this case is shady as fuck.
You know
and why Karen is innocent.
You know what we should do? I will put together a wheel, like a wheel of fortune type of thing, and we'll spin it. We'll make a game of it.
I love it.
To the Reeds, like if you're ever watching this, please understand it's all for a good cause. I mean, no disrespect to your daughter, but I want to create a wheel that spins and we pick certain topics like Sally Port or, inverted video, 2:27 a.m. text. We'll pick topics and we'll just rant about them on demand.
That's a fantastic idea. Like I'm in love with that idea.
Yeah. And maybe I'll put my 11 and 9-year-old to work just to put together a wheel for it. Or maybe there's someone who has like more of a technological background and we can make a virtual wheel. But the reason I'm taking a moment of your show to mention this is, like you just said, there's so many different areas of this complete mess.
Dude, I've been saying it for months. I've been saying that for months, that like you could pick something out of a hat.
Yep.
And talk about it and realize that there's something really shady about it.
Oh yeah.
As far as how this investigation was conducted.
Absolutely. And all of these topics add up to reasonable doubt, which is what underlies the entire trial and her defense, which I want your audience to know, as you, I'm sure, have been saying, and others, as I have, there needs to be a little bit more emphasis and better education of the next jury on reasonable doubt. I think that was respectfully a little bit of a missed opportunity with this last jury who kind of went rogue.
Yeah, I mean, the thing but based on what I gathered from Ronnie and that exclusive that he got with that Turtle Boy got with him, based on what I got from that, they never stood a chance. Everything that the defense was trying to present was dismissed as a distractor.
Yeah, someone, Letteros by Bettero just said we need the wheel of distractors. We'll do that. But you're right. Like
there it is. Wheel of Distractors is a great title for it. Wow, and from Vegas, right on. Tattoos, $4.99. Thank you so much. And you rock, Nan. Nancy Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Leona, Nan, I love listening to what you have to say. Me too. Thank you so much, Nan. And Joe, we ain't got no white here in naughty Norfolk County. Thank you both for all you do. And I know Bev is corrupt. It's a small county and we all know family and friends. Okay, Jojo, thank you so much. And I hear these things a lot. Like most of my audience is local there. So it's, yeah. Mary Cronin, thank you so much. Cheers to Jersey girls fighting for Karen. Right on. Yes, absolutely. Morrissey's iCloud. There's no match for Nan. Free Karen Reed. Exactly. Lake Life, thank you so much. Question, Nan, do you find most people outside of New England have heard about this case? And if they have, what are their initial impressions? You are a great guest on all my favorite YouTube creators. Leslie from Massachusetts.
Oh, thank you, Leslie Lake Life. So no one is like talking about this. It's not in our mainstream news in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area. And then I also have clients up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So it's not in our mainstream media. But when I bring it up, and a lot of my clientele on the Eastern Seaboard knows that I'm a true crime fanatic, those people all have heard of this case. And it is widely known. I think it is widely misunderstood because if you look at the Datelines and the other, the stupid podcasts that jerk who lives in the woods, that hobbit with the leather jacket, I can't think of his name, Phelps.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you look at the mainstream
The
or
guy's
the
a clown.
podcast out there, or Judge Janine Pirro, who like completely never even understood the case and got it
She
from
wasn't, yeah, she was so off on shit. I was like, I don't even remember what it was, but I remember like hearing it on Aiden's channel, and I was like, what in the shit am I listening to right now? She's completely wrong.
That's
What?
a classic case of like when I delegate an assignment to past associates of mine, I'll say brief this, and they'll like do a brief, and I'm sometimes a little too busy, and I'll say, okay, let's hand it in. And then when I finally read it, I'm like, oh fuck, because it's not right. So I think she handed this off to some intern who's like, kissing her ass and hopefully trying to build her own resume, but she got the facts wrong. I'm interested to see and maybe your chat can help me, but there's apparently like some documentary that is on the agenda or on the horizon to come out in the coming weeks right before trial, and it's escaping me.
There
but
is the ID channel one. And you'll be able to stream it on HBO Max too, but the ID channel, there's a 3-part one, and Karen, man, she's owning that shit. There's like a part where she's flipping her hair. She's like, Elle magazine wants to do some shit on me, and I posted it in my
saw
page
that.
and she commented. She was just like, fuck yeah, this is my time, fuck that shit,
And
I earned it.
And I agree. And I saw that today. And let me go one step further, just so your audience understands. Kudos to Karen Reed
Hell yeah.
for speaking to any news outfit, including Vanity Fair or any other magazine or, Ted Daniel, any of them, for her actually sitting for interviews. I know a lot of lawyers say, including Betterow, hail to Betterow, okay? If it were my client, I wouldn't let them sit. I get it. But there is, just so we understand, there is absolutely no way Alan Jackson would have sat Karen down for Boston 25 News with Ted Daniel for an interview if he thought it was a bad idea. And I would go further and say, Alan, that interview was like 50% or 75% Alan Jackson. And
I can still hear you. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Go away. That interview was 25% Karen Reed, or maybe 50% Karen Reed and 50% Alan Jackson. So he's a really smart, brilliant, cunning lawyer. And even he wanted to sit her. So the Commonwealth can sniff up the skirts of any mainstream media or Vanity Fair, or they can make applications to get access to the rolls and rolls of discarded carpeting that Karen has been paying for storage to keep, which candidly, I don't think is going to reveal anything, but that's just my 2 cents. They can do whatever they want to try to get notes of Gretchen Voss or Ted Daniel or any of the like, and they're not going to find anything because just as Karen said months ago, like, yeah, that's right, I confessed to all of these news outfits. Do you think any one of them wouldn't have reported it right away? So I think her case, as a lawyer watching it, I'm glad she sat for some news outfits and gave her take. I don't find her opinions or her statements made to them to be notably contradictory to one another. And what's his name? Brennan is free to cross-examine her if she sits. But those things aren't coming in if she doesn't sit for testimony, which I don't think she should. I don't think she
just
should.
so stupid. Like, why would a journalist sit on a confession? or something that would be, you know what I mean? Like the Karen mocking, that whole argument to the press when she came out of the courthouse was just a chef's kiss. Beautiful.
Yes.
Where she's just like, yeah, like, so if you guys have notes and anything, and I gave a confession and you guys didn't report it, you guys suck at your jobs.
I agree. And
I mean,
she has a constitutional right not to testify. I think it's best that she doesn't.
right.
But let her talk to these magazines or newspapers or news outfits. Let her do it, because if you allow, not you,
and
Will.
Bev hates that she's doing it. Guaranteed. Bev hates that Karen Reed is doing all this television and all this publicity right now. Because the bottom line is the country needs to see what's happening in Massachusetts right now.
100%. And honestly, I don't think she would have even gone as far as to have some of these interviews had Meatball not gone out of his way to give that hostage video, which was completely unethical.
Yeah.
He put the shot across the bow. So when you have an elected prosecutor like Meatball putting a pre-recorded statement, which, I'm sure you've all of the content creators have talked about previously how it was completely inappropriate to do that. But if he's going to go out there and say that the witnesses are credible, that she's essentially guilty, which is unheard of and violates a slew of ethical rules of professional conduct, then the gloves are off. And she should be, at least to the extent she can,
great point,
make her voice heard, because she's probably not going to testify. But I think you would agree, Will, maybe, and your audience.
I think public support is her best weapon against the Commonwealth right now.
I agree. And I think she, in her mind, I don't know her, but she probably says, I would give testimony. Like, she'll follow her lawyer's advice.
She has.
Right? But she'll say, you sit me down, I'll answer questions. And, there's people who will like her and there's people who will not like her. There's people who make judgments about her based on lack of testifying, facial expressions, looking back at her parents. And I think that's all bullshit. I'm getting judged. I by no means should I be comparing myself to her, but I'm being judged very similarly. And many of you are being judged similarly for having opinions about what's right and wrong. And everything is wrong about this case. And I'm just not going to stop talking about it. So, I very much gravitate to you, Will, for doing the same.
Yeah, thank you. Because you're absolutely, we're definitely on the same page for sure. Because that's where I'm at. I just can't shut up about this. To me, it's like some crazy Twilight Zone shit that I just can't understand why. And I truly believe that right now, Karen Reed, the best thing that could happen for her right now is the public support that she could possibly get. And hopefully this ID channel thing gets her a lot more public exposure that will be more in her favor, where people are willing to listen, because that's the first time I've seen, and this is going to be a 3-parter. So this is going to be a lot. So I'm expecting a lot of information, and we're already seeing that they're talking about the McAlberts, which is the first time that's happened yet. No mainstream media has been really talking about the McAlberts, and they're putting that out there.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Let's hope it's fair and accurate. No one needs a piece published that is pro Karen Reed. Let's just have it be fair and balanced, right? Like,
that's all I ask. Just put all of the facts out there and let your viewers make their own judgment.
I agree.
Put all the facts out.
And when we think about people like Ronnie, who's one of the jurors who basically said that there were people who were in that deliberation room who imposed their own knowledge base and theories as to what happened to try to solve this mystery, which was completely improper. Look, no one needs to solve the mystery. Will, you're never going to solve it. I'm never going to solve it. Your audience isn't going to solve it. A lot of people
Right.
have reached out to me, as I'm sure they have to you and others, saying, I think I know what happened. We're never going to solve it. And the news outfits are never going to solve it. What Karen deserves is a fair presentation in the public eye. So
Right.
up and down the Eastern Seaboard, anybody I encounter, I try to tell them about this case so they look into it. And I always try to imagine if it were me, what would I want? How would I expect to be treated? And I don't know how she's managing and keeping her composure, which is why I'm trying to just give her as much of my emotional support as I can as a woman. And I thank your chat and the chats of other content creators for trying to give her the same level of support.
Yeah, I mean, just the more and more that I started following that I kept following this, it was just like, oh my God, and it's nice to see that other, law tubers and content
Yeah.
creators are talking about it. But yeah, I'm really hoping that this ID channel thing gives Karen a good light of exposure, or at least, like I said, in the sense of at least putting all of the facts out there. Let the viewers make up their own minds, and at least follow the case, watch it,
Right.
and I think most people are going to have common sense, and they're going to go, wait a second, something's really not right here, because when you really look at the case, everything about it's not right. So it's real easy to find what's not right about it, because literally everything about it isn't right. So
Yeah, and we can agree that the defense didn't need to go with this third party culprit defense, but
they didn't.
it's just this it's this side story. Like, when you think about what the prosecution, at least with Lally, in 1.1.0 tried to present, if you harken back to his opening statement and the evidence he tried to get admitted into this trial, his presentation was completely inconsistent from the time of his opening until the time of his closing. How is a jury supposed to look at him and say, yeah, that was a fair presentation of what happened, and we believe they proved her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt? There's no way.
I theorize that Fanning, because now it's confirmed, like that was the one piece of reporting or information that came from Aiden that I was like, I haven't seen a receipt for that,
Fanning.
Was that Fanning was in charge of the jury,
Yeah.
Now I didn't doubt it. It was just like, that's just the one thing that Aiden has brought up that I never saw a receipt for. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
So you,
And
like you said, you kind of
right,
measure him, you look at him closely, right?
right. And so when that happened, when the entire interview with Alan Jackson and Karen Reed came out, the Ted Daniel thing, and then they confirm it, I was just like, oh shit, okay. So now I feel confident in theorizing, speculating anyway. I think it's fair to speculate that Fanning had influence over the foreman, and Fanning was responsible for getting rid of the jurors that were visibly reacting to some of the bombshells that were taking place during testimony while Bukkake was on the stand. So
He was
I think it's
probably even
fair.
just listening.
I mean, Fanning was one of the lead investigators in the Sandra Birchmore case. That
So
needs that cannot be overlooked. That cannot be overlooked. It is irresponsible. It is beyond naive to overlook that.
and if you notice in the Ted Daniel interview, Alan very candidly said, I don't know if Fanning did anything. I just know that I became aware of it right before I closed. and he thinks it should be at least looked into. But most importantly, if first so your audience understands, this is wholly improper. There should be no biased or arguably tainted influence on a jury whatsoever.
At all. Not
At-
even a chance of it.
Right.
So
at all. And
the
when
big
you,
question here is, why did Judge Bev allow this? She was aware. You're not going to tell me that she wasn't aware of Fanning and the conflict of interest, the clear conflict of interest of him having anything to do with that jury at all whatsoever, having any contact with that jury. That should have never happened. And he was
100%
in
agree.
charge of the jury. He was the one in charge of their notebooks.
Oh,
I mean,
agree.
come on.
And 100% agree with you. And she knew. I didn't know
Right.
until this came out. I only heard about it maybe at the time of the Ted Daniel interview, but I don't think I ever heard Turtle Boy allude to this. But in the last week, I became aware of this. And once I became aware of it, I can just tell your audience from personal professional experience, this is completely unheard of. Normally in courts, the juries are looked after by court officers or court clerks, sheriff's officers, not someone like Fanning, who was a witness, who also had relations or relationship to the text messaging, some of which was tied to Proctor. And I don't know specifically, in your chat, you can correct me. I don't know his specific relationship to Proctor in the hierarchy of the chain of command, but also he had major involvement in the Birchmore case. This is completely improper. In addition to that, Will, when you think about the fact that the judge knows, and I'm not afraid. And, I've had people say, oh, just be careful. You're an officer of the court. I am not afraid to say that any judge or prosecutor who allows that type of third party appearance of impropriety. I'm not even saying there was tampering. A lot of people are saying this was tampering. I don't know that there was tampering,
But
but it
shouldn't
sure
have-
smells
shouldn't
like
have
a bunch of
happened.
shit. I mean,
Right.
look, it smells like a pile of shit.
It
And
does, dude.
if you're going to allow this to happen, whether you're the judge, the prosecutor, or anyone else related to the judge, the court clerk, etc., you allowed this to happen. It needs to be looked into. And it is a tremendous concern. So AJ or Alan, he handled it very gracefully during the Ted Daniel interview, but there were problems there. Once you have had clearly pro Reed jurors who, the team Reed and even observers like Aiden and others have said, yeah, they seemed to be vibing with the defense. And now these jurors are now off the final jury composition. This smells like a big stinky pile of shit to a litigator of 25 years like myself. And do I know everything? No. But if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. So, Joe Flipperhead, you can capture that for your next video. It's a fucking duck. And people like me who look at the rubber ducky gate and we say, Jesus Christ, could this have possibly been like the whole rubber ducky issue could not have been a more symbolic gesture or symbol of this whole bureaucratic bullshit. So, hey, I can curse now more. It's after 8 p.m. But, when we look at all of this, Fanning should have never touched that jury in any way. And I did mention this
Shouldn't have been anywhere near them.
I mentioned this on
that
Mike.
is such a crazy, crazy thing that even happened.
And I mentioned this on Mike's, the Young Jerks the other day. I equate this to Stockholm syndrome, which for those of you who don't understand what that is, it's basically if you've been held captive, people who
you grow a closeness to your captor, and
right. And jurors, even though they were not sequestered, there are studies and articles about how jurors tend to feel a closeness and level of trust to their quote captors, those clerks and sheriff's officers, etc., who look after them.
Sure. And
So-
think about imagine how comfortable they felt knowing that the foreman was an ex-cop,
Right.
you know?
And the foreman, not the foreman, you're right. But also when you have Fanning looking after them, and I don't know the extent to which he supervised them, but when you have Fanning who testified in the case, looking after them, there's going to be psychologically some type of reasonable deduction on their part that, oh, okay, well, he's looking after us. He must be trustworthy. Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit right now. That should have never happened. And don't tell me that someone else in that courthouse couldn't have just stood in and taken the place of Fanning on this. This would
Right.
the fix is
How
in.
hard could it be to just, hey, we need your notebooks, make
Yep.
sure you don't search anything, make sure you follow the judge's instructions and blah, blah, blah. Be here at this time. Hey, it's lunchtime. Everybody take a menu and circle what you want on the menu. You know what I mean? Like, how hard could that shit be? Like, any asshole can do that.
Yep.
You know?
And ask Miss Becky in the Alec Murdoch trial down in South Carolina, Low Country, in the last year or so, how that ended for her. She was the court clerk who was alleged to have unduly influenced a jury. And ultimately, even though it appeared that the outside judge who was brought in to kind of flesh it out if this jury was unduly influenced, determined that Miss Becky's influence did not necessarily change the verdict. That's fine. But that judge found Miss Becky, the court clerk who looked after this jury, to be wholly incredible, meaning wholly unbelievable.
Right.
So I am of the opinion that there needs to be an inquiry, some type of inquest as to whether Fanning, what he did, and to the extent of how much he did it. I actually posted recently.
And how was this not brought up by Weinberg at the SJC hearing?
Oh, I agree.
I've never thought of that before until just now. Like, wouldn't that have been a strong argument to present to the SJC?
It would have.
that a witness who already has issues with credibility was in charge of the jury in this case?
I do believe that it should have been brought up, but at the same time, Marty Weinberg's application to the SJC was limited. He makes limited arguments on limited things, and in this case, it was whether the jury reached partial verdicts, which I want to go on record on your show and to you saying that the jury instructions and the manner in which Judge Bev called a mistrial was a complete shit show.
Totally.
Complete shit show. Like, your instincts are great on this, Will, which is why I always try to validate to you. You know what you're talking about, and no one needs to be a JD Esquire to fucking know it.
Correct. That's my whole point. It doesn't take even an educated person to fucking see what the difference between right and wrong, like.
Right. And when you have Judge Bev say things like, oh, the defense was no shrinking violets. Yeah, they weren't fucking shrinking violets, but there was no time, and I dare say the defense did not need to jump up and say, oh, wait, Judge, you're calling a mistrial. We've got questions. It doesn't happen that way. And on the same note, a lot of people reached out to me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, saying, well, shouldn't AJ have stood up when Hank Brennan on Tuesday of this week kind of lied, and he did lie, to the court. He misrepresented what really happened to the court with regard to the ARCA materials and the pre-testimony exchange. Shouldn't AJ have stepped up and said, I want to be heard? No. As a lawyer,
Right.
and I don't expect your audience to know this, but as a lawyer, like, you have to show a level of respect and deference to the court. Once she,
Always.
and I mean this respectfully to
Dude,
Judge Bev,
I see AJ eat so much shit.
I don't know how he
He
does it.
he eats so much shit from Judge Bev. Like, the dude is, because I'm telling you right now, like, if you wonder how you would come to the conclusion that this is factual, that he's eating the shit and it's taking a lot of restraint for him to not, speak out, is hang out with the guy on a social setting, because everything's an F-bomb. Everything's an F-bomb. He's loud as fuck. He's animated as fuck. He's passionate as fuck. Like, at that dinner, he was like, dude, this blah, 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 blah. Like, he was cutting loose. You know what I mean?
You said that the other day.
And
go
so
ahead.
knowing that and seeing that, now when I see him hold back, I realize how much he's holding back now.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
He is clenching his anus
Yeah.
so hard to not jump up and say, this is total bullshit. But I heard you say that the other day about AJ being like, dropping the F-bomb and being very vociferous.
Yeah,
And I hope one day I have an opportunity to ever have a conversation with him, because I, as an attorney, I want to know.
I am sure you will at some point. I'm sure
I
you
hope
will.
so, because I want to know one thing, which is, how the fuck do you not stand up and punch Lally or Brennan in the fucking face? Because that is maddening. Okay. And I have encountered in my practice prosecutors who gaslight, who cross lines, who make you think they're doing everything right. And that belies every single thing Brennan is doing.
And
giving them
Jackson's
everything.
really good at pointing it out. Jackson's been really good at pointing it out. Like, he keeps saying things like that, if you noticed, he only mentioned the word metadata once or twice. He's trying to act like it's not even important, when the metadata is exactly what would verify this to be credible evidence.
Right.
Well, that's what we need. Is the metadata.
In light of the fact of the inconsistent, sporadic, intermittent rollout of discovery. So your audience understands, and so you understand too, Will, because I know you want to learn about this stuff. Had there been a full and complete, robust disclosure of all of the evidence for trial 1.0 and no inverted videos, had it all been handed over, people like Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, Alessi Betterow, Ms. Little, none of them would care about metadata, because they have everything.
That would just be like, it's video. There it is. There's the video footage.
Correct. And
so
I have
now they're saying, now they're like, how can we find this to be credible evidence unless we have the original untampered with copy? And we need to verify that with metadata. There's no other way to vet to beyond any type of it. It has to be verified via metadata. It's just how it is.
The prosecution made metadata and logs and chain of custody important by their consistent, infectious, chronic failure to provide the discovery along the way.
I mean, man, pre-trial 1.0. They filed motion to compel for discovery more because Lally just was not sharing discovery with the defense. It was endless. It was constantly happening. And now Brennan is trying to argue that the Commonwealth deserves a fair trial, is entitled to a fair trial. The Commonwealth is entitled to a fair trial. And so the defense needs to share every bit of evidence that they have, and that there's a motion to compel Bev to make them do that. So this is just they're saying, well, we don't want that clause there because we feel that the Commonwealth is possibly, and they can't outright say that unless you can prove it,
Right.
but they're implying like they're preparing their witnesses. They're using our exculpatory evidence to prepare the witnesses with. And so it takes away our element of surprise to catch them off guard and catch them in a lie. If our client is innocent until proven guilty, if this is the template of our justice system, and my client is presumed innocent until proven guilty, then shouldn't she have the absolute advantage to be able to catch her accusers on a lie? If her accusers, if she is innocent and people are accusing her of something, then that would imply, without saying, that those people, you need to catch them on a lie in order to prove your innocence.
I agree. And that ties into the other motion that I believe it was David Yannetti filed. David filed a very important motion to preclude or prevent having to hand over impeachment evidence before cross-examining witnesses. I think it's called a motion for sanctions, but he basically wants, and it wasn't argued the other day, it was kind of partially argued, and then Judge Bev stepped off of it, and then thereafter Judge Bev had a conniption on the bench for no reason. But anyway, David Yannetti was arguing in his motion that we don't want to hand over all of our impeachment evidence to try to undermine the credibility of witnesses. And the examples given that I saw in his motion were, hey, we had to hand over the fact that we knew Jen McCabe went to fucking Lank's house like the day after the incident or murder, which is complete sus, as my kids would say.
Oh, really?
But the defense had to reveal its hand and say, we know you went to his fucking house, which most jurisdictions, most of them, do not require that the defense hand over impeachment evidence before the witness finishes direct.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Isn't it weird?
Yes.
Isn't it weird that Bev would put this out, this thing on the defense? Like, I've never heard of that before.
Well, it is Massachusetts case law. Massachusetts, I always say God save Massachusetts, because you've got some really fucked up case law up there and really fucked up precedent. Okay, things need to change up there, and at a minimum, Karen Reed aside, I think your lawyers need to get together with your bar, and your legislators need to get together with your legislature and revamp some of your fucking laws, because they are completely ass backwards. And when we think about what the case law says and the rules of evidence say in Massachusetts, which is in the minority of jurisdictions on this issue, Massachusetts allows and mandates that impeachment evidence to undermine cross-examination must be handed over at the outset. So you are revealing your hand. You don't get an aha moment. And that is not what the majority of jurisdictions require. And they, the defense.
Well, it seems like just for the simple reasons that we just went over.
Yeah.
That's exactly why. It's just because of a person being accused has rights.
Yes.
So they have a right to have that advantage.
And you're entitled to that aha moment. It's something that so the US Constitution, I can't speak to the Massachusetts Constitution, but the United States Constitution says that any defendant has the right to confront her accusers.
Accuser, right.
And for purposes of our conversation right now, we're going to assume that her quote accusers are not just the prosecution, but it's the Brian Alberts, the Julie Alberts, the Jennifer McCabe's, the Nicole Alberts.
Exactly.
They're all her accusers. It's the I can't think of his name, but the dipshit paramedic who says he heard her say, "I hit him, I hit him, I
Oh,
hit
I
him."
don't remember his name either,
I
but
call
yeah,
it's
he's
like
fucking retard.
Filati or you know, phlebotomy or whatever his fucking name is. But anyway, these are her quote accusers. Kerry Roberts. They are accusing through their testimony Karen Reed of hitting and admitting to hitting John O'Keefe. Karen has a right to confront them under
Right.
the U.S. Constitution.
Right.
And when she confronts them, she's allowed under the majority of jurisdictions.
Doesn't cross-examination count under that particular statute?
Correct. Now I know
I don't know
this
about the
stuff gets-
statute, but
you're right though.
I don't know if I'm
this,
using the right word, but
you
yeah.
are. And I know this kind of may bore your audience a little bit, but just so you guys understand, she had a right to be able to have her attorneys tell or question Jen McCabe by surprise on the stand, you know, and I'm embellishing a little bit here for dramatic effect, but they're allowed to say, "What the fuck were you doing at Link's house the day after the fucking murder?" Okay, they're allowed to say
Right.
that. And she meaning Julie, Jen McCabe should have been like, "Oh my God, like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that. I'm in shock and horror. I went there to have, you know, because Kerry Roberts' daughter was friends with Michael Lank's child. And, you know, I might have gone in the fucking house to go pee-pee." My point is, there should have been this right to this aha moment. And Karen was deprived of it.
Exactly. Right.
Now,
She's the one who's being accused. So under that, under that whole idea is where she would have automatically by default have that right to that advantage.
Right. And the other example, and by the way, someone in your chat said scripted lies. Like, that's so appropriate.
Totally.
And the other example in David Yannetti's motion, which is still pending, it hasn't been argued yet, so you guys should all tune in at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. The other example he gave was when the nephew of John O'Keefe gave some testimony on the issue of the eating of steak tips. And the defense had to hand over the fact that they had knowledge of and a video of his name. I don't remember his name, but John O'Keefe's nephew eating steak tips. And John O'Keefe's nephew was,
and we try to hear like I don't show kids on there, so and their names I try to just keep them. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge, but still I try to avoid mentioning their names here anyway. So
yeah,
it's
we
all good.
respect that.
John's nephew is fine,
and he was able to be prepped as to whether or not he was yelled at by Karen on an event where he was eating steak tips or where he was eating takeout. It's a simple little example of why
he probably didn't even know what I mean.
The
and
fact
Aiden was live one time and played the video, like the audio of it, and there's nothing at all that is like a conflict between Karen and this child. It's lighthearted, it's nice, it's pleasant. It seems like she's trying to she actually seems like she's trying to be respectful. Karen seemed to know her boundaries with his siblings' kids. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't even really John's kids. So even still, her being the girlfriend, she knew that there was still a little bit more of a boundary there. And John was trying to adjust to that boundary already. And so she was aware and she respected these boundaries, and was trying to do her best. And I feel like that audio that we heard was very, very reminiscent of that,
And
or reflective of it.
I think I have to say, as a big fan of yours and as a woman who avidly watches your stream, I really gravitate towards the fact that you almost seem and should be seeming protective of these children who've been through such tragedies in their life. And I do believe that Karen, whom I've never met, and I don't know anything about her. I can only glean little glimpses of her. I think Karen, she's a smart woman. She is very instinctive and perceptive of people and calls a spade when she sees that. I think it's my feeling that she recognized her role in the O'Keefe dynamic that she entered into, what appears to be during the pandemic. You know, her and John, as I've learned to know, kind of reunited during the pandemic. She realized or learned that, or appreciated that she had heard that he took on his niece and nephew. I have nothing but respect for what Officer John O'Keefe did for those children. And it seems to someone like me, and I wasn't there, that she handled that role that she had with nothing but grace and beauty and a level of
and tact. Yeah.
Just a level of understanding of where her role, what her role was, and where that responsibility ended and where John O'Keefe's began. Like, I think she fully understands that. But for the prosecution to have somehow manipulated that and to have influenced perhaps the nephew to try to say that she was somehow improper to him, I think there's a special place for people who do that. You know,
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like messing with a kid's head like that just to get what you want is as low as it gets.
So I'll step off the niece and nephew right now, but I just want everyone to understand that there is a pending motion that did not get argued last week or this past week. I guess it's still this week. On the issue of the presentation and the timing of presentation of impeachment evidence. And this will probably be denied by Judge Bev, yet again, showing, in my opinion, a bias that really unduly favors the prosecution. And she should do the right thing, which is to allow both sides to have to disclose impeachment evidence after direct examination. Let the person go testify on direct and then have a disclosure of information, as happens in my jurisdictions and the majority of jurisdictions, where, okay, you've testified on defense, let's hand over what we've got, let the attorneys look at it, and then the person goes back up on the stand and it's a fucking free-for-all. So I feel very passionately about this because Karen has rights, and she has a right not only to confront her accusers, but to have those aha moments. Can you imagine if Jen McCabe, who I think is the complete villainess in this fucking story. And Jen McCabe, if you're watching, and I know you are the villainess in this story. And I will not rest until I make sure everybody who listens to me knows that. Okay? Because you are the person who will steal a wallet and help you look for it. And I'm not afraid to say it.
That is a great analogy right there. That is
yeah,
dude.
I feel
That is
so
a great
passionately
analogy
about that.
I can't fuck it, dude. That is so good. Like accurate, man. Like I've known people like this, and they are the lowest, grossest fucking people that will steal from you and be like, oh my God, hold on. Have you looked over here? Have you looked over there? And oh, you motherfucker. Dirty
Yeah,
fuckers.
I agree, and I feel really badly for you, Will, if you've experienced people like that in your life, but I know I have, and I've
Well, everybody has at some point. You know what I mean? There's always a fucking thief that comes around, and always.
she's not only Jen McCabe, she's not only manipulated evidence and lied. These are all my opinions. I want to be very clear. These are not the opinions of the Glarers channel. But in my opinion, from everything I've gleaned from watching trial 1.0 and the pre-trial of 1.0, gavel to gavel, not only has Jen McCabe lied to benefit herself and to cover up some type of, I'm not even saying it was an intentional murder here. There is clearly something that went awry.
Yeah.
Okay. But also, Jen McCabe has taken steps to make sure that people who have spoken out about this have been punished or indicted.
She has played a very, very integral role in Aiden Carney's charges and incarceration. This is a fact.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. So
Um
anyway, I don't mean to ramble, Will. I'm sure you have a lot of
no, you're good.
questions.
You're good. I mean, yeah, we probably, because listen, man, we have these conversations and they're going to go naturally. That's what people are here for. So, these super chats, there's a lot of them. So I probably won't be able to go over all of them.
Let your audience know, Will, whatever they are, even if you can't get through them, I'll make a promise to you as one of my newest friends. I'll make sure you and I communicate about what the total is, and I will match that to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. And in doing so, I will not bankrupt my family. I will not have to squander my retirement savings. I will simply do what I'm saying, which is something that I wish the prosecution in this case would do, which is actually be a person and a professional with a law license with integrity. So I would encourage anyone who's willing to be charitable to give, because I in turn will donate that directly to the Karen Reed Defense Fund with no expectation of anything other than trying to help this poor woman out. She's being railroaded by the Commonwealth. So
clearly. Wow. Man, you are a saint. I mean, let's try to get through a couple of these, but we got about 30 minutes left before Aiden's show starts. And so we've got John Sims, or wait, here we go.
Thanks, John.
Nan, thank you so much. Hablo español también. Guarino is an Italian name that is derived from the word guardiano, meaning to guard or to protect. He's a joke. Yes.
Isn't that ironic?
Thank you, John Simas. And Deb Joy, love the show. Free Karen Reed. Jackie, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you. I gotta know. I'd like to see the court full of lawyers from Massachusetts, like happened in Georgia at YSL trial. I don't know what that is. It supports show of the system. Okay. Thank you. I gotta know. Plevin shit eating grin. Can we please give a shout out to this McLaughlin the McLaughlin character sitting next to Lally? Don't think she gets enough credit for her misdeeds. Oh yeah,
100%.
I mean, yeah,
you're right. Plevin's shit eating grin. She's a problem.
My man, Larry Legend. This dude is awesome. Like, I miss him on Twitter, dude. He's a dope dude. And
can I just say something, Will?
Sure.
I think as Nurse Kim told me to call him. I want to say I think it was you, have been very protective of me on Twitter, and I just wanted to thank you and Auntie Deb for doing so. I think that's really, it makes me feel very comfortable. So thank you.
I mean, I haven't been on there in a while because they got booted off, but
La is as
I did. Yeah, that's right. I reposted the thing that you had put up, man, because that's dope, man. Like, I meant what I said. That's one of the things that I respect more than anything in the world is when somebody just decides they're just gonna like, hey, I'm not happy with this anymore, and I'm going to fix it. And it's okay if you are happy with it. You know what I'm saying? But you were like, okay, I want to lose weight and I want to feel better about myself. And
oh yeah.
How long did it take you to lose that weight and how much was it?
Yeah, so thank you for asking. I really want to say this because a lot of trolls are spinning this and only I know. So when did I start? I started in 2023, in the summer of 2023 to the
Okay.
summer of 2024. I lost 150 pounds.
Wow.
I did not use Ozempic, unlike what antiquated rogue who's a complete Nimrod claims. I just simply cut out sugar, cut out carbs, exercised by developing from walking really poorly to then running. I'm very happy to say I run a few miles a day on the treadmill. I lost 150 pounds. I drink a shit ton of water. And yes, tonight, a little bit of vodka, which is unusual for me. And I'm really proud of it. So once I became outspoken in support of Free Karen Reed, the trolls posted a bunch of pictures they found online of me or videos they found. And I just decided to post a video that I had prepared long before I got involved in this movement at the end of 2024. I put it out there and I'm very proud of it.
Great. I thought it was great. I think that's and it's great because you are that tells me a lot about just the way you think and what you find to be sensible. Like, it's just that simple. There's no shortcuts. It's cardio and eating right. That's it. You got to cut out sugar.
Yes.
You don't have to cut out carbs, but it helps a lot. If you cut out carbs, you go through the keto thing and then you're just burning fat.
I agree, and I respect that you go to the gym avidly.
Calorie deficit is the only way. Calorie deficit is the only way to lose weight and exercise.
I'm not like a powerhouse. I don't have tons of muscle, but I can tell you, and I'm sure people will meet me. I hope to meet all of the Free Karen Reed supporters when I come up. But I can tell you, it was my personal struggle, and I really did. This is as genuine as it gets. I used content creators and the Free Karen Reed trial to simply focus my attention while running on the treadmill, and I lost the weight. Is it going to happen for everybody? No. But what I realized is my kids matter to me, and I wanted to be healthier for them, and I feel great. And I thank everyone for the kind words, but you can do it too. And any challenge you face, whether it's dropping any addiction or wanting to make a change in your life, you can do it too. So if I can help inspire anybody, I will do it.
Yeah, that's it, man. There's no way around it. You just gotta dedicate yourself and you've got to practice self-discipline. There's no other way around it. Accountability is everything. I mean, this Gallagher thing, that acronym for me, even though it's Glazer right now, just out of jokes
for hysterical, by the way,
for the Paul thing. I apply that to almost all my decision making nowadays. And let's face it, let's just be honest right now. I went from being like this close. I was evicted from my apartment. I was this close to being homeless and having to stay at a shelter. But when I decided I was not going to do myself in, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go stay at a shelter. Luckily, I was blessed with some help, and I didn't squander that help, and I did the best I could with it. And so I changed my entire way of thinking towards life and my attitude towards life. And then I took a job at a gym just to be able to have some income, but be able to work out for free and a good positive place to spend my free time. And so I just became more focused on these things. And now, if anybody sits here and tries to say that me adopting this Gallagher mentality, and I'm not trying to push it on anybody, I'm not trying to write a book and sell it as a concept for self-improvement or whatever. I'm not trying to sell snake oil here. I'm telling you, this is what I applied for myself, and it worked, because I'm sitting here right now making a better living, doing something that I am passionate about for the first time in my life, making a better living than any job I've ever had in my life, just by sitting up here and being passionate and hanging out with you guys and feeling as strongly about something and being a part of something that makes me feel as this is so important. The country needs to see what's happening in Massachusetts right now.
Will,
Being a part of that movement is, I'm winning.
Will, you are winning. And I will say to you, I'm like almost in tears listening to you, because we can all,
And it's all about great gratitude. It's just being
Yep.
grateful. I am always grateful. I never expect anything. I am just always grateful. And what happens is, when you're always grateful and you find blessings and everything, blessings become abundant. Because you're showing genuine gratitude with your actions, you know. It's and then there's just this cool thing. I could tell you right now, you know how fucking cocky I am. I could give you the meaning of life. Everybody's trying to talk about the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? It's the most pondered question. How dare any mortal think that they have it? I have it fucking figured out. The meaning of life is simply to have faith in something bigger than yourself. That is the purpose of you being here. You are equipped with the tools and blessed by whatever God, universe, but you are blessed with the tools to put something out there into the world under a faith that something out there is bigger than you. You don't know if you're going to be rewarded for it. You have no real idea if you're going to be rewarded for it, but it's a lot better than not taking the chance and contributing and being bitter and saying, I'm going to put out shit into the world and be bitter and nasty because I don't know for sure what's out there. Since I don't know what's out there, I find that to be beautiful. So I like to see maybe whatever I put out there, hopefully resonates into something bigger and makes, you know, is part of the harmony in that song, that there are so many things going on in the world. One hand washes the other, and all of these things that are connected, because everything is connected. Make no mistake about that. Literally every fucking thing has some sort of force connecting it. That is science. That is fact. So if I am thinking as being a part of that and feeling lucky and feeling fortunate as being someone who won a 400 trillion to 1 lottery of being conceived and born, because those are the chances, those are your odds of being born, is 400 trillion to 1. I can't even conceive that number. So knowing that, it seems like the key to a happy and fruitful life is to put out as much positivity and whatever you could contribute to your environment in a positive manner without expecting anything back.
This
That's
is
the meaning.
unbelievable. Like, seriously, I'm crying listening to you, because this is just much respect for you.
Gigi Gallagher is gratitude, logic. There's actually 3 A's, but I just shortened it just for the sake of penmanship. Gratitude, logic, awareness, acceptance, accountability, rationality, empathy, and resilience.
Wow. I mean, seriously, I'm looking now, you've got over 2,200 people watching right now. Will, like, seriously, you're the shit. You're the shit.
Not really, man. I mean, it's that easy. Most people do it. You know what I'm saying? Most people do it. They know the meaning of life, but they don't even fucking know it. You know what I mean? It's just
I think people
that is
take
it's
for
it doesn't
granted.
have to be that complicated. It doesn't have to be such a pondered thing. Just put out there, don't be an asshole, and
Yeah.
put something out there that adds and complements the things within your environment. Make your environment better, contribute to your environment in a positive manner, and you're washing the hand that you're supposed to wash in life. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're good.
It's that easy. It's that easy.
Like, seriously, everybody who's watching right now, like, I can just tell you as a lawyer who's a big fan of The Glare and watches as avidly as I can, he gets it. He knows. I know I say, people know. They know. Will knows. And he has the most positive life message. And it's really, like, just chilling to listen to it and to have a conversation with him.
Well, how
about
can you
it.
lose that way? How can you lose that way? You know what I mean? How can
Right.
you lose by just doing just trying to be as dope as you can? You know what I mean? Like, how can you lose? Just
You
try to
need
be as
to
dope to other
get
people
me
as you
you
can.
need to get me out of my tears and to fucking make me laugh for the next 20 minutes or so until Turtle Boy starts. I know you have a bunch of turtle chats. I'm not turtle chats, super chats, but I will tell you, everybody, if Will can't get through all of them, please know
I won't be able to get through all of them. There's no way.
I'm going to
There's 87 of them total.
I'm going to communicate with him and I'm going to match your chats and make a donation in the next coming few days, and I will do that for you because I thank you so much for listening, and I believe so much in Will's messaging. He's like the best. There's a reason why there's mommy's glare time, okay? He gets it, okay? So even if he doesn't get to your chat tonight, just understand I'm going to see your chat at some point, and it means the world to me. I'm sure it means the world to Karen, and just keep showing up, which is the essence of what Will was just saying. So
I don't
thank
know how
you.
to not show up for this. Like, I'm too,
I
there's just
know.
there's people here that like relate to this. It's like you, Betero, Esty even being one of them, because Esty is always, she just goes out to the, like, I got to do something today. Oh, I'll go to the State House and stand out by myself.
She's
Fuck that. And I'll
unbelievable.
dance. Yeah. Now she's got a channel and everything that she makes off of it goes to Karen Reed.
By the way,
I
did want to mention, Will, like I happened to read her description of her channel. I saw her stream. I've seen her streams and I saw her description. She's not taking a super chat, a Venmo, nothing.
No. It's just donate straight to Karen Reed's defense fund.
Esty, if you're watching, like you are my spirit animal. Okay. I get you. And I think you're the most wonderful soul. And I think I really vibe with you. So thank you for all you're doing. And I really relate to that as well. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, this is this really turned out to be a great live stream, man. I really enjoyed this conversation. I knew we would have a good chemistry, so I hope we get to do this many, many times moving into the future.
Thank you.
I
Me
think
too.
people would what do you guys think? You guys think that Nan should be coming on here quite regularly?
Oh yeah, because I'm gonna shit on people. If you want to see me, you want to see a lawyer shit on people and call bullshit, then you might want to say, yeah, you want to see more of this in the future. But
yeah, it looks like
great.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, a
I
lot
gotta
of
stop.
support in the chat.
I gotta stop crying though. Will made me have the feels.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm just feeling the feels, but we're good. We're good. So anyway, who can we shit on, or what super chats can we read?
Well, we don't have enough time to start shitting on, but we'll do a petty stream. What I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start limiting my petty streams because I know I haven't done any in a while, and I know I don't really do anything special for the members, except offer the Discord, and access to the Discord. So I'm gonna start just limiting the petty streams to members only. And then so I'd like to invite you on, and then we'll just like review Plevin shit, members only,
I
for
would
just the
love that.
members. Yeah, that would
Will,
be
if
fun
you
as
ask
shit.
me, if you ask me to the prom, I'm always gonna say yes.
Well, you got it. With a corsage and everything.
Wow. Oh, by the way, though, you haven't seen it from me, folks, but I rival Will in his impressions. But I have to say, his most impressive impression to me is Colleen Crawford. I love it.
Well,
I
I don't know if it's an impression. I don't know what she sounds like. It was just what I imagined her sounding like.
the imagine her sounding like impressions like gives me the feels. So it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Do we have video that they're gonna look at? Okay, we'll take a look. I do rival you, Will, in your impressions or impersonations, but you've got me with Colleen Crawford. So, keep it going. Keep it going.
I
You're
just,
excellent.
dude, I'm telling you, all I do is get up, like I fucking get baked as shit, and then I get up here and I review this stuff, and then I talk about it. Like,
Listen,
that's all I do. It's
to
not
your audience, though, nothing
work.
gave me greater pleasure. Nothing gave me greater pleasure and also severe emotional distress than Will's like crooked cabinet handle stream from his Airbnb in Boston, the Boston area. I'm
That
not
was
kidding.
so fun.
I lost my shit. I have.
Well, I was drinking wine too, man, and I had a good little buzz.
I
going.
knew
Yeah.
that stream was going south real quick when you were like, drink. You don't. First of all, you don't strike me as a wine drinker. Okay,
I love wine actually. Like
it's great.
I love cab. Yeah,
But you were sitting there drinking wine
a lot
in
of
an
calories
Airbnb,
though.
and I'm listening to you going, "This is great." He was up in the Boston area, and then I saw the crooked handles, and then I was like, "This is fucking killing me." Okay, like I can't handle this with my OCD. And then you turned it into a fundraiser, and I was like, "This is absolute genius." But I have to tell you though, I was blown away by that fundraiser. I thought it was so funny. I think you are really one of the funniest content creators out there. I adore you, Will. I think you're excellent.
Oh, Nan, you're roboting pretty bad.
I'm roboting? What does that mean?
Yeah, it means that you're lagging. Your internet seems to be lagging in some
Oh,
way. Yeah.
can you hear me okay?
Not really. Not really. It sounds very robot-y.
Oh no.
Oh, it just got better. I think
All
it's
right.
okay. Oh yeah,
Sorry.
you're good. Yeah, I think you just had a little interference with your internet. That's all. It
Okay.
happens.
Good. So, I'm yours until Aiden starts in the next 11 minutes.
We got about 10 more minutes. Yeah. Let's try to get through some more of these free care and read. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Paul's Court hand signs. Buy yourself a glazed donut and a coffee. Thank you, Dan. I love it. Thank you, Paul's Court hand signs. Paul's Court hand signs is too much. Just scratching your chin with your pointing finger. Wow. Ray Hamilton, thank you so much. Thank you, Will and Nan and free care and read. Absolutely. And Southie Sally, thank you so much. Kevin from South Boston asked me to send this along. Thank you so much. Free Radical, thank you so much. Love you both, and thank you very much. Thank you. And Charlie, but Nan, what do you think of Plevin's boinkers?
What are his boinkers? What did I miss?
His nipples. So
His
Jen
nipples?
Altman, Jen Altman made a comment on his Twitter, like at one point, like because he had like he took off his shirt or something during a stream and changed his shirt. It was really weird. And then Jen Altman said something about his boinking nipples, and I laughed like a maniac because like boinking for some reason was just the perfect word. And I'm a fucking child. Yeah, and I'm a fucking child, so I fucking laughed like it was months ago. So I would always reference his boinking nipples forever.
Well, let
And
me be very clear. I missed his boinkers, but to be honest with you, the thought of Plevin having boinkers makes me want to throw up right now. And to Plevin who's listening, because I know you're hate watching, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
he has no clue.
You have no fucking idea what you're talking about, and you're stupid.
Maybe he was ordering a pizza. Yes, you
your
are very stupid.
Your Sims videos of the simulation of the accident. My 9-year-old son could do a better online project and video project of that. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. The fact that Court TV adds you as some type of learned or esteemed commentator on this trial and evidence befuddles me. I want to be very clear too, because I've said this on another stream, Will. Nick Rocco, I've never met you. I've never spoken to you. I've never communicated with you. But if you in any way would like me to in any way join you on Court TV to try to balance that fucking narrative every night, I'm in. Tag me in. You're doing a great job.
That would be awesome.
You can hold your own, but Jesus Christ, Plevin and your boinkers? I'm sorry. I missed that though. I got to look back at boinkers, but go Plevin, go back and live in your cottage or your attic. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
I'm trying to tell you, dude. Plevin is not real. He's an apparition. He haunts the attic. He's a ghost. He's an apparition. He's a poltergeist. He's the thing at the beginning of Ghostbusters reading a book, going shh. That's all Plevin is doing on Twitter and on YouTube. Like, if he goes to try, that's why you've never seen him. Like, if he goes to try to open the door to the attic, his hand goes through the doorknob. Like, it goes through the doorknob. He can't get out of the attic. He just haunts it.
Court TV, if you are listening, the fact that you were giving Plevin any airtime tells me everything I need to know about you. Okay? He has no idea, in my opinion, what he is talking about. So please move on. Find another cast member to try to give fair and balanced commentary on this trial and the important issues surrounding it. But Plevin needs to go back to the basement or cottage or attic that he lives in, because he has no idea. And
what do you mean he can't leave? It just stays there. That's where he was stuck. He doesn't know that he's dead.
I think it's also important to note, as we kiss up to the 9 o'clock hour, Will, that for someone like Plevin who goes out of his way to call grifters, which I've been called a grifter, somebody needs to convince me that I'm a grifter, because I don't take a dime from this. I don't have a channel. I donate.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone like Plevin who's a grifter.
Yeah, you've spent more money. How could you possibly? You are the exact opposite of a grifter.
But you know,
the exact opposite.
Plevin is seeking membership funds. Like, he's grifting.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. The vodka's kicking in.
Well, yeah, man. I am so glad that you joined me. I'm not going to be able to go over the rest of these super chats, but I am so glad that you joined me tonight. I am really glad that this happened, and I really can't wait to do this a lot more in the future, really, because I find your insight to be so valuable.
Thank you.
And being able to pick your brain, and I can't wait to do that with new things that come out, new developments that happen in the case. So yeah, I'm really excited. And I'm so grateful to you for your generosity that is unparalleled. Like, there's just I've never seen anything like it in all my years of being here on YouTube. And just to even be associated and be just even watched by people like you with your intelligence and and supported by, you know, Karen's family and her and everybody, and believing in me doing what I do here, which to me is just being passionate about this and talking about it. That's all I do. And as long as it's this is happening, I'm gonna be louder and louder about it. So and oh, there's Kelly Reed. Kelly Reed's
Oh.
awesome. So
Hi,
yeah, I
Kelly.
don't know if Kelly Reed heard. So what Nan has done here is she said any super chats that I get, she's going to match the amount to Karen's defense fund.
Tonight.
So
Let me be very
yeah,
clear. Tonight.
tonight, just tonight. But tonight there's already 94 starred things here. Some of them are gifted memberships. So where I'd say it's in
That's
the
okay.
in yeah, definitely in the high 80s. And it's a lot. So that's crazy. You're unbelievable. I don't even know how to express verbally how grateful I am.
That's
to
okay.
you for
Well,
that.
I'm going to file for bankruptcy, get food stamps, squander my retirement savings, seek mental health assistance. So, Kelly, please let Karen know whatever I can do for your family and for her. Within my means, I will do so. But most importantly, is to just work with people like Will to spread the message that she is being fucking railroaded by a regime and an entity that is completely squandering her constitutional rights. So to the extent that I can help, I will. And thank you everyone for watching.
All right, Nan, thank you so much. You are absolutely fantastic. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I will be in touch with you. Thank you so much for everything. Everybody, everybody give Nan a round of applause. And I see these super chats are still coming in. Thank you guys so much. We'll then as you guys leave here, make sure you type into Aiden's chat, because Aiden, Turtle Boy Live, he's going live next. Make sure to type in Glarer and Nan Raid.
Aw.
Yeah, make sure that they all know us over there. So guys, you guys are absolutely fantastic. Nan, thank you so much. Guys, you are amazing. I love you guys very, very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.
Have a great night.